we won money, so it was good and it was fun. But it also sucked because we just sucked. Like, we didn't do anything good. We just ran away from the circle and hit and prayed, basically. That's all we did. Feels bad. Alright, let's just cast some StarCraft. Bottom right side. Our blue Zerg is Namshar from Infinity Gaming, kicking off this Group C of the competition here today, as he is up against Geralt in the first round. Our red Protoss from Team Blazer in the upper left side of the map. As we get this going. Good luck, have fun being called. Game number 1 of this first series today getting underway. We do have, so Namshar, Geralt, and then TLO and souL are other 2 players in this group. 2 players will advance to the quarter-finals, which will be played out on Saturday. Tomorrow we've got the final group, Group D as well, featuring Skillus, Euthermal, Ziggy, and Minato. Bit of a different group, that one. A few players we don't see in all of the tournaments that I run and so on, so it's definitely a little different. Some up-and-comers, people who've been making more of a name for themselves as of late. Let's definitely see what they are up to as we are off and away here. Probe mining away in the main base. Geralt just seeing what's up. Gateway dropping down. Hatch. Pool. Actually, no gas just yet from Namshar. Going to skip out on that in the early few stages. There we go. Hatch pool, then the extractor to get set up in the ZVP. Don't actually know what the full map order is here. They only told us Cyber Forest for map number 1, so we don't know what map 2 is for the moment, so we can't talk much about potential vetoes or so. There's definitely Zerg and Protoss players who will play, who'll be happy playing the larger maps, such as Year Zero and King's Cove. There'll be some that really will not want to go for that. In terms of Namshar, I think he's very happy to play those larger maps. His style works pretty well across all maps, honestly. He does have a very well-defined style in CVP, the style of, I'm going to play Roach Hydra, and then going to go into Lurkers. Then I'm going to set up Dropper Lords, drop around, try and break you, set up good Lurker positions. It's how he's played in ZVP for a very long time. It was obviously at one point the meta, the go-to. Now, not so much. But he still relies on it. That's still how Namshar plays. While all these other Zergs are playing Ling Bane Beta, not Ling Bane Beta, but Ling Bane Hydra, and so on and so forth, Namshar is still staying true to Roach Hydra, into his Lurkers. And again, it's something that other Zergs will mix in now and then. It's just not something the other Zergs will do as regularly and as a go-to like Namshar does. So he really does understand this style probably better than anyone. As we see Geralt throwing down a Twilight Council on the top left-hand side of this base. It's the Twilight Council on the way down, going to be seeing these probes mining away. And the Stalker from Geralt just about to be chrono boosting out as the Adept shades out onto the map. So an Adept already coming forwards and picking up a Zergling. So one Zergling already going down here. Nice little pick off there by the Adept, as we're going to be seeing the next Adept on the way out. Warp Gate about halfway done. Hatchery coming in as well. Third base already getting set up here. So already getting this third base underway as we see the robot facility from Geralt going to be coming in on the main. So getting that ready to go. And there's that second gate coming down, part of the wall off. So the Twilight Council is fast. Gives you a couple different options. And there we go. We see this fast charge coming in. So this fast charge, oftentimes you start pulling out of gas, but it's going to stay on gas, which suggests maybe not just like an 8-gate charge lot all in. Maybe a couple of Immortals mixed in with a big charge lot attack. But it is a very fast charge, so you're definitely looking to be very aggressive. And obviously, well, I guess you could still add on the Templar Archives and go for like an Archon charge lot attack. I guess that's something that is still somewhat of a possibility here as well. As you see Namshar, pretty typical Rotron in the lair. Really covers his bases against most things that the Protoss player can go for here. There's the Immortal Chrono boosting out, so Geralt will get aggressive in game number 1. Geralt is a Protoss player, someone you're probably a little less familiar with. He is someone who we see a decent amount of, now and again. We see a decent amount of him, and he definitely has his moments. He will play kind of, I actually see a lot of his PvZs going into the much later stages of the game, into carriers late game. But if it doesn't go there, I mean, he often is being aggressive like this early. He does not shy away from throwing in those couple of all-ins now and again, keep your opponents on edge. And, it's really something that these Protoss players who are up and coming in the scene, they do fall back to a lot of the time to say, okay, well, it's tough for me to win a game or a series here if I play macro straight up every time. But if I throw an all-in, get a map from that, and then win a macro game alongside it, that's how these players get noticed. They get more confident. They build up experience, and then as they develop, they become these players who can play more macro-focused builds every single time. I mean, take Petit Drogo for example. He was just the king of Sentry's Blink Stalker era, right? And he got that experience. He got a lot of progress done back then, and You know, nowadays you look at Drogo, and he's not the sort of player he's like, oh yeah, he's just going to build 8 gates and all in, right? You know, Drogo is all about just, you know, macroing up and that sort of style. So it's a pretty typical transition of kind of learning how to play StarCraft 2. You find something that you're more comfortable with, something that, you know, it's easier to perfect shorter games than it is to perfect longer games, right? That's the idea. I always remember before GG, he would just sit there and just play 1-1-1 all in on the ladder all day long, and he was just like, well, if I, you know, if I perfect myself playing on 1 base, then I can move on to 2 bases. And some days he just decided, yeah, I'm just going to practice 1 base in a day, practice my multitasking with it and stuff like that. This attack comes in though, we saw the Zealots warping in as they come. I mean, 1 single force field available is not a lot. I wouldn't say it's too effective either, as we're going to be seeing plenty of roaches made from Namshar. 47 drones is not really an over-drone, with the Spine Crawler helping out as well. I mean, the roach count taking some hits here. Obviously, that Immortal's doing a pretty good job, but Namshar is about to get his next round of drones, roaches, up and running. The War Prism takes quite a bit of damage too, so have to back away, so now further reinforcements will be that little bit further away as well. The Spine Crawler picking up a lot of damage over here, and a few Zergons and extra roaches popping out. Well, this is going to be the end of these units. Geralt, his attack not really a success here, as it gets turned around completely. The Immortal going down is the real kind of damage output of this army that's being shut down now. You can just see that these roaches will continue to fight these Zealots with ease. And at this point, Geralt is in some real trouble. He hasn't got gases on the natural expansion. This is an all-in for a reason. You throw your units, you lose those units. You don't have tech behind it. You have not continued to... Alright, jumping into the action. Here we have, to the bottom right-hand side, the blue Zerg player from Infinity Gaming. We have got, up 1-0, Namshar. Taking on the red Protoss player to the top left-hand side from Blazer, Geralt. Game 2 of our best of 3, and oops, I just hit my mouse with my phone while I'm spinning it around. I'm just fidgeting in general. Ay, ay, ay. What a life. Fidgeting, messing around, I don't know. You guys have these days as well, right? Well, you're just kind of like never satisfied. I don't know what it is. I'm just like in a real angsty mood where I'm like, rah, rah, and I'm just like, rah, and just like a little bit. Just I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it or what it is, but I'm just not in this like lovely mindset. I'm just not in a good mindset. I don't think. I think that is the issue, but it's I don't know. I just feel like a couple of things have annoyed me just before the stream, and I'm just trying to like work them out of it. And it's hard to work things, you know, work your way out of a weird mood when you're streaming, I feel, because it's like you just gotta talk to chat, and then chat are like, well, Wardy, can you just shut up and actually talk about the game? And I'm like, well, you know, sometimes I like talking about other things, and then, you know, eventually I upload this video to YouTube, and oh my god, then I really regret not talking about the game, because they go off on me when it comes to that. Overlord here from Namshar heading in toward the upper left-hand side. So Namshar heading in towards the upper left as we see the Nexus dropping down the natural. Simulator coming in. Pretty standard stuff here from Geralt as we see the first expansion coming through. On both sides of the map as well. I mean, Namshar just doing the same as Geralt, so really no surprises here to begin with. So this probe just wandering along down to the bottom right side. Couple queens, couple lings. Obviously the last game getting decided by that attack from Geralt, so we'll see if this time he wants to play a bit more of a macro focus. I mean, it definitely is a map where that macro style works a bit better. That third base gets taken very easily with this ramp to defend, so being up to 3 then 4 bases quite nicely. The 5th base comes quite naturally as well. A lot of the time on this map you don't even realize the players are taking expansions, even when you're kind of like, I don't realize really when I'm casting, because it just comes to, you know, they just seem to expand so easily that it's never really an issue. And you're just talking about other things happening on the map, and then you look back at home and it's like, oh, the Zerg's on 5 bases. Oh, so's the Protoss, because, well, at the end of the day, they're just in this setup where it's like, you know, it's just so easy to expand. Whereas on some other maps, the expansion's being taken on really something that gets stressed over. It's something that there's fights over. That doesn't happen here on King's Cove. It's a much more passive map in that regard. And these players will probably kind of skyrocket up into a whole bunch of bases. You can see here, the Stargate in the corner of the base, scouted by this Zerglin, which does run over there. And it is an Oracle to start off with now. Not going to go for the Phoenix just yet. I mean, no rush to deny this Overlord, right? It's going to die eventually anyways. I mean, you're not going to deny any information or anything with the Phoenix first. Nothing more than you're going to deny with it going Phoenix after Oracle. Obviously, the Stargate gives you a few different options in terms of how you can follow up. Traditionally, the Stargate, I feel, gives you a lot of macro options for moving into the next stage of the game, so I think there should be a few different opportunities here or there, maybe, for Geralt to take advantage of if he wants to go up to the free bases, etc. A couple of spore crawlers on the way from Namshar, just preparing his defense. He even takes this forward base earlier in the game than the one over here, so that's how easy he says it is to defend these three bases, or these four bases. He takes the forward base early. I'm going to give him a little bit of an advantage. It might be a creep tumor that comes down over here a little bit sooner than if you had to creep here, then here, then here. So I might just be able to push that creep a bit forwards. We'll see. As we do see the single Zergling just sitting on this hatch, and the Oracle from Geralt up the right-hand side. Just a couple more gates just going to be finishing into the front of the wall off. Stalker poking its way through that Overlord, and Overlord taking quite a bit of damage. The Oracle will come in to provide high ground vision, and the Overlord is going to get taken down. So Overlord will fall, and Namshar will fall into a bit of a supply block here as Geralt. A couple of Adepts coming down the bottom side. Zerglings from Namshar wanting to maybe try and jump on those Adepts as well. It was double Oracle in the end, but it is a second Stargate too, so switching up into double Stargate Phoenix after double Oracle. Good defense initially from Namshar, Queens and the Spore well positioned. In the end, this third base doesn't have any creep coming out of it or anything along those lines, so in the end, it's just taking that forward base for the sake of taking the forward base. The fourth will come down very easily behind it. I just don't feel like this base would have been too much trouble to take anyways, to begin with, if using those Oracles. And really committed in for that Queen kill. He gets it, but it's a 1 HP Oracle just getting out alive. All for one Queen so far as Geralt. That's all he'll find. But Queen kills are nice because obviously the Phoenix production is underway, and the less Queens there are to help you deal with help the Zerg deal with the Phoenix, the more successful those Phoenix are likely to be. So it's definitely something to keep in mind here as the Phoenix continuing to pop out. A lot more Zerglings from Namshar continuing to head up to the top side of the map now. So all these coming up to the top as the Liggins will rock around, get a force around on this Nexus. It will go down. A couple of Oracles coming in. We are going to be seeing things continue to get shut down. Oh, Liggins for a moment try and dive through into the natural, but not quite able to. Another Queen popping up as we are going to be seeing another Phoenix on the way out of the Stargate. A couple of Phoenix on the way actually. Liggins running in towards that pylon. Pylon already taking a few hits here. Zealots taking some fire. A couple of thrones across the map as Adepts actually show up in the natural. Nothing here to deal with this. This is already a lot of workers killed because there's also drones down on the low ground. Suddenly 10 workers lost for Namshar. This is really, really painful. 10 workers down as we are going to be seeing Geralt throwing down a Nexus over on the third base as well. Another pylon comes in just to the side of it. And those Phoenix and Geralt now going to move out through the center of the map. +1 air weapons being chrono boosted out as well. And there is that Nexus again, just send up into free bases, right? That's what this map is good for. The Phoenix allow you to harass while doing it. And the double Robo as a follow-up as well means you're going to have a nice strong defense. In case of any sort of roach aggression, I mean, Immortals in general are what you kind of make your mid-game army out of, so you're heading towards that. There's no real surprises. That's 2 or 3 Queens. Caught just out of position coming down the ramp, and all the other Queens continue to be lifted so that one low-health Phoenix does not fall. The spores, I mean, these Queens are just completely out of position, right? So definitely costing them out at the moment. Good micro back on the low-health Phoenix as well. Make sure it doesn't get targeted by new Queens. This is a lot of damage done by Geralt. Namshar taking heavy losses. At least does have Hydras on the way to help push this back a bit, but has to replace all of those Queens. And those are again things that you would have liked to keep alive because they really are a good additional defense to those Phoenix. Especially if you want to get aggressive in some ways, try and punish this Phoenix play. The Queens usually come with the aggression. You know, if it's denied us or so, there's definitely a possibility given the current day. As you can see, well, one Phoenix gets picked off. The Queens they're able to get a couple of Phoenix now at least, so able to get some kills, but it's another 7 drones, and it's just not a good position for Namshar. What he's lost so far, you can see 2.9k to 1.3. The fact that that's Queens and so many drones is just so expensive. It's not just like it's a couple of roaches that are not really going to do much otherwise. It's like really, really units that are valuable. And units that are, you know, meant to set you up well into the next stage of the game. Now the Phoenix come in and will get some roaches as well. I'm surprised these roaches didn't target a couple of probes were in task, instead just going for a zealot or two. A little bit of a shame. Forge about to finish. Twilight counts are going to be done as well. 10 more Hydralisks, 12 more Hydralisks on the way out. Namshar going heavy on the Hydra count. Has not started a Lurker Den, probably delaying that just because he knows it's so heavy on the Phoenix. Doesn't want to rush in towards the Lurkers and you know, the Phoenix are very good against lurkers as well, because obviously as you make lurkers, A, you're taking away Hydras to make them, but B, the Phoenix can actually come in and just lift lurkers and unburrow them from a fight, and that actually becomes very, very expensive and very costly for the Zerg, because then your lurkers just aren't actually that good. Like, you're not, the Protoss is no longer attacking into them, they're not getting that initial damage to them that they're meant to be so good at. Phoenix going to be sort of flying in towards the third base, but Geralt's doing a good job of paying attention here, tries to lift up a Hydra, turns away pretty quick. I mean, that was a very hopeful lift on the Hydra as well. Like, if he'd been able to kill that and get out with losing nothing, that would have been quite incredible. But I think rightfully so, that Hydra force does manage to pick up a Phoenix kill. Hydras are wiggling their way up to the top side of the map. Phoenix coming through, picking off one Overlord, another Overlord going down as well. Hydra gets picked off, and just going to be seeing those couple of Overlords taking another couple of shots. Oh, big stasis wards catching these Hydras as they first arrive. I'll buy some time, as obviously Storm is on the way. Oh, no charge yet is huge. Kills the War Prisoner as well, takes away some micro potential. No charge and no Storm is actually a huge, huge downfall at the moment from Geralt. Losing gateways, I mean, now these Hydras are coming back up. Charge is about to complete. Namshar backs away from this, but I almost feel as though this was still a good spot for him. Storm still was not done. I mean, yes, charge was, but there was only, what, like 5-6 zealots here? I feel as though he probably could have done a little bit more. It's one of those really tough situations to call, though, right? Because it almost feels like you shouldn't be able to do damage, but he really found that sweet spot where the Protoss player just didn't have his upgrades ready. So risky though, because obviously if you attack in and suddenly Storm finishes in that second, you're in a very choked up area, so the Hydras will take a lot of splash damage. And if you take a lot of, I mean, that turns the fight around instantly a lot of the time, especially because there's multiple Storms. That's the difficult problem for Namshar. He doesn't know how far Storm is from finishing. And so it's just a little bit too risky to truly commit in, especially when he's got a transition coming in. Lurkers to buy time, with the Great Aspire and the Brood Wards, which are eventually going to come out. So you can see that Hive and Spire currently being established. Grabs another Phoenix. I mean, this is nice. Getting a good few Phoenix throughout the game, I would say. They obviously, I feel, get the Phoenix in a lot early, but I feel like they recovered as well. And that was actually some good defense as well. And Queens lifted, were in trouble, but the Phoenix got targeted. The Hydra's coming in, and no matter what Geralt tried, he couldn't pick up a kill there. Realizing that he's going to have to go into a later stage of this game. He starts up 2 more Stargates. With the 2 extra Stargates, with the extra cannons, fully peeking. I mean, late game is on the way from Geralt as he establishes his forward position here on King's Cove. We still have 7 of these lurkers just out at the front of the 4th. I mean, there's that 5th coming up from Namshar. We mentioned these bases just sort of appear without us even noticing them. That's because what is Geralt meant to do to really harass or take down this base at this stage? I mean, there's one attack path in on this left side. I mean, what on earth are you going to be doing if you're pushing down this left side? I mean, you're opening yourself up to a huge counterattack, and that's exactly what's happening. Geralt down the left, and Namshar's going to run in, and that's probably a dead 4th base of the Protoss player. And a really difficult position to fight back into as Geralt. He just has to give it the 4th, no doubt about it. But now, Namshar just rotates his lurkers up to the 3rd base. And now Geralt has to fight up a ramp into lurker fire to defend the 3rd. Well, I mean, that's really difficult, because there's also these lurkers that are going to try and pick up some High Templar as they come up the ramp in general. And I mean, you can just see there's so many lurkers here. Here you go, first couple of Storms, really just scaving the edge of those lurkers. Lurkers starting to fight now. The Immortals, I mean, you know it's bad when the Immortals are taking that much damage. 28, 30 probes going down across the map. Zealots are warped in, so there is some aggression that, well, currently there is not a response to, as Namshar takes down the 3rd base as well. The last couple of Storms starting to come down here. The High Templars getting very low. They will morph into an Archon to save themselves. The last Immortal stands strong to pick off these last couple of lurkers. Again, across the map, those drones having a good time, but now the Zealots are going to get picked away by the Hydras. And, well, will Geralt realize to move his Warp Prism away in time? Hydras get onto it pretty quick then, are able to take it down. Geralt just says GG's. The problem is, yeah, he did a bit of damage, but he didn't, kill bases. He didn't stop Namshar from mining. And yeah, you've got 1 or 2 carriers coming up, but you can't afford to continue that production. Game number 1 of this PVT. To the top right-hand side from Makers, our blue Terran player is souL. He specifically asked for a group here for this tournament without many Protoss players in it. We weren't quite able to deliver that. There was one, but well, I mean, that's life, right? There's generally one of each race in a group. when we get to make the groups a little bit ourselves and have some freedom to it. So, you know, at least he didn't get 2 Protoss players. You know, he can look on the bright side in that regard at least. Top right-hand side is souL, then our blue Terran. Bottom left, down 0-1 in the group. Start this second series trying to get a quick win in. Or maybe not a quick win, but trying to get a win in here. This is Geralt from Team Blazer. All these players, apart from, I mean, obviously all the players we've seen so far, I guess, TLO being the exception in this group, kind of on these teams that are very new to the StarCraft scene. Makers just picked up or bought out Iron Chain. So while Iron Chain wasn't like a new team, Makers as an organization is. Blazer just started picking up players not so long ago as well. And then Infinity Gaming, that Team Namshar's on, have really kind of, well, come into their own recently too. They had souL as their Korean player for a little while, but they've got a lot of European players at the moment, and they've got Clem, they've got Denver, they've got Goblin. These are all players we saw in yesterday's group. And these few teams, they're really starting to dominate the European scene. I mean, these guys alongside Team Liquid, I kind of think, I try and think about other teams that have so many players, and I can't really think of any. Like, I mean, if I look at the players that are in the tournament here, there's Marine Lord who's on O-Gaming, they only have 1 player. Cass is on Starcom, they have a couple players. Obviously, Uthermal, Team Liquid, we mentioned those guys. So, like, Team Liquid, Blazer, Infinity Gaming, and Makers, they seem to run in the European scene in terms of teams that just have multiple players, which isn't necessarily a thing much anymore as well. There's a lot of teams who just have 1 or 2 players. You know, for example, Asterion Gaming are a Dutch team that have Hearthstone. Clash have Lambo and Hellraiser, right? But it's only a couple of players. It's not a ton of players. Like, Laser joined at Go Esports. He's their only StarCraft player. So there isn't really that many teams with, you know, a bunch of different players on anymore. As this opening is all coming across the map, found by the Reaper. It's a nice find because obviously you can get rid of it pretty quickly. So starting to see this as the Reaper kites away towards the natural expansion. Reaper grenade bops that Zealot off to the side. And the Zealot going to try and swipe onto that command center. Reaper able to get the kill. Hello Zig with the Twitch Prime sub for 27 months. Happy Wardiversary. What are we naming baby number 3? Honestly, for this one you can choose. I'm not fussy. I'm happy with the other 2 names that I definitely do remember. Definitely didn't forget them. Yikes. I like this. The Hellion's going to come forwards and try and make sure you can chase the Adept down. The Adept is low, so it will fall to this Hellion if he continues the pressure. Doesn't even lose the Reaper. Good defense from souL. Kills the Reaper, kills an Adept. Didn't have his command set to slow. Lost 1 SCV. But Geralt put a lot of, you know, Chrono Boost and just, I mean, production into this early kind of gateway unit setup. To lose a couple of them, not really delay anything here. I feel souL's got to be pretty happy with this overall, as we do now see the Twilight Council up. Twilight Council is going to be Chrono Boosted and is going to be getting that blink up and running. On the bottom side of the map, souL has proxied the starport here, and that looks like he'll go straight into a Cloak Banshee. No reason to build a tech lab otherwise. I mean, you're not going to proxy the Raven. It's like, haha! My Raven, which needs time to build up energy to be able to do anything, is now able to come and fly over your base faster than it would have before. And is 100% more useless as well. So yeah, definitely going to be the Banshee out of there. As you see a siege tank on the way up from souL. Robotics facility dropping in the main base. A couple of gateways coming down from Geralt. Getting this ready to rumble. So that's all on the way as we see this probe from the bottom side just throwing down a pylon. Geralt going to continue over. We'll see this starport and the Cloak Banshee in a moment or two, so is going to know what's happening here. Probe comes over as the Banshee turns and picks off the probe, so probe goes down. Banshee coming across and just going to be seeing Geralt coming over. It's going to be the Banshee able to pick off a couple of these probes here. So nicely done, couple probes getting picked away at. And we are going to see those Stalkers coming down to the bottom side. Getting a good couple of shots off that Banshee. Taking some damage. As Blink comes up, Cloak coming in on the Banshee as well. I mean, the Banshee not having Cloak yet is obviously a problem. Not able to stay alive. There we go. Cloak's up as it escapes. Obviously kind of reveals his hand pretty quick. The shield battery will keep probes alive now too. As we've got Marines and a couple of siege tanks from souL hanging out on the natural expansion. Extra racks coming in on the main base, the starport dropping down as well. So all of this getting ready to go. The Robo Bay from Geralt coming up as well. That's going to be, well, it's going to be about halfway done very shortly. 2 Banshees obviously together, do one-shot probes even with the shield battery, but then the Stalkers blink in, boom, that low health Banshee is dead, and really just saw punished for that first Banshee not really doing a lot and taking so much damage. Just waiting for another one now until you can really come back in with this bottom one in the corner. The Stalkers must be aware that this starport is somewhere on the map, and you can see that Geralt is, well, he's actually already seen it once before, so he's out hunting for it, and he is going to find the starport. Not in time to shut down the Banshee from building, but probably in time to kill it, so it's never going to get home. And that does mean you're going to have to, as souL here, well, he's already rebuilt one at home, so it's actually not going to be that much of an influence. He already had it rebuilt, he was expecting to lose this. Well, the thing is, he's lost that. It means it's even more of an investment than it would have been just to go cloak Banshees normally. So now he really has to do some more damage. He cloaks up very early here, afraid the Stalkers are still around. This Banshee comes back through the natural. Shield battery about to finish on the third. Just as this Banshee arrives, literally is not going to get a kill instantly because of that. There comes the second Banshee, so the one-shots will begin. Stalkers meanwhile blink up into the main. Nice combat shields. It is the shorter of the two upgrades between itself and Stim, so could have been worse. These Banshees are getting good damage done as well. I mean, 9 SCVs going down as these Banshees now pushed away. 9 SCVs to 8 probes. A lot of lost mining time though from souL. He pulled workers off the mineral line while Geralt kind of just continued to build, continued to mine. souL only kills 1 more probe than what Geralt gets. All said and done, 44 to 49 workers. souL will not be too unhappy with this. He did lose that combat shields. That is painful. 2 tanks currently in the main. I don't think you've got the Stalkers to really just blink straight on top of these. I think they do a bit too much damage as you try and get close enough to blink in. Well, let's find out. There we go. He blinks straight on. 2 Stalkers down. Okay, maybe he does. Wow. I really kind of felt like, I guess I was just wrong in thinking, but all the tanks were getting shot up when the Stalkers from the low ground and they blink up, they take another shot, and you know, by then you've definitely already lost a few Stalkers and the tanks survive that little bit longer. Not going to be the case though. A lot more Stalkers getting set to go as souL is loading up a lot of medevacs. Looking to drop out on the map. He's got nothing to defend at home at the moment. So that is a problem. And I wonder if he's actually even going to get anything to defend. A couple of Widow Mines pop out. He's going to pull SCVs into this attack again. You see Geralt is starting to run away. Drop in the main base in the meantime. Colossus is not really safe here because it is kind of just on its own. Nothing to back it up. Second Colossus coming in from the low ground. A couple of Stalkers getting picked away. Probes being pulled in to defend as the SCVs were pulled to defend the Stalkers on the other side of the map. Now Bio dropping off to set up on the third base as well. And obviously Geralt's units are all over the place, which means that there is a real opportunity for this third base to maybe even just die. Like, realistically, there is not a lot here to defend it in range. He's going to be able to get, well, he's going to recall. What did he recall? The Stalkers? Must be the Stalkers. Then he just turns and fights. Oh my god, it wasn't the Stalkers. It was the 2 Stalkers and the Colossus. That's not enough to fight this. 2 Stalkers go down instantly. The Colossus getting some good damage on the Marines. You can see the Marines kiting away from the Colossus. Continues to focus the Nexus. Will he get it? He will. Towards the very end here. Lifts up, backs away. Blink isn't there to clean up the medevacs. I think that was a mistake. I think the Blink recall in this group of Blink Stalkers would have been the better choice. Was dropped from before, does come back into the main base now. 1 Widow Mine there, still ready to commit and actually go up. So watching for that, as actually a couple of pylons might start dropping as well. 1 pylon here, the other pylon can go down too. This Widow Mine unburrows, reburrows once more, does get killed in the process. Feels like souL is probably finding enough damage so far. As we do have Geralt trying to re-establish a pylon up in the main. More racks on the way out. SCVs producing, 3 bases from souL. Looking comfortable, of course. He's the one that's been applying all the pressure. Now, that said, don't forget that there is, of course, the situation where he has, of course, yes, been applying the pressure, but he's also been the player to have, given away a lot of units. He has picked off, for example, the Colossus was obviously a good pick off, as we see the Stalkers eventually will come in, and that Banshee will just cloak to escape. He did pick off the Nexus. He picked off a good few Stalkers here and there. The Colossus kill was good. That all helps him to justify having lost some of the army. As Bio sets up just out the front of the natural. So just sitting out here, waiting to see what's next as this Banshee flies around. Finds 4 probes. Obviously no real defense on this third base because he killed the shield battery earlier, so the probes not safe from that single Banshee for a few moments. Now we're going to be seeing the Psystorm being Chrono boosted down from Geralt, getting that ready to go. souL heading down to the bottom left-hand side. We do see the Stalkers from Geralt in the top left-hand corner. souL comes over, tries to get another probe, doesn't quite have it. Stalkers too well positioned, gets shut down instantly. Let's see, there's a bit of a larger push now from souL. I don't think he's got enough though. It's a bit of a shame because he's going into, I mean, 1-1 upgrades finish, and they're just now finishing from Geralt. souL will be a bit late on 2-2, his armory definitely not on time. He postures to perhaps push through into the third base. So a few murder mines, a little bit of bio pressing forwards, a couple of Vikings hanging out as well. Oh, just going to come down, hit the third base location. Here we go. This is starting to take quite a lot of damage. I mean, just run straight in, kills the Nexus. At that point, you don't even need to take another fight, right? You just say, well, I've denied your third base again. I tend to have a lot of energy for Storm. I mean, this is a dangerous army. Going into Vikings and Ghosts is definitely required here from the souL. Geralt might just push across the map and try and make use of all this splash damage, but again, by the time he gets there, there's going to be 6 to 8 Vikings. There's going to be multiple Ghosts ready to EMP. souL's been setting himself up well ahead of time to be able to deal with this, and I think that's going to go well for him. I mean, 4th base finishing, he'll morph in towards a planetary, which means it's only going to solidify that position if Geralt doesn't attack soon. And otherwise, I mean, he already set up in a concave here as souL as well. Those Vikings gathering up there. Come the Ghosts. That's the one thing that's been a little slow coming in. I mean, 3 of them here now. Where are those Ghosts? There they are. They're actually all just coming down to the natural, so just need to bring those over. Vikings to the main base. We'll get rid of the Warp Prism. So obviously now has to go and respond to the Zealots, and that's going to be giving Geralt the opportunity to move in towards the third base location. Stalkers blinking straight into here. SCVs will pull in to repair that orbital. So much damage being done. Third base dies. Vikings coming into the bottom side of this though, and actually able to get rid of the 2 Colossus very quickly on the front. I mean, now you can chase this army as well, because the Stalkers are not going to be that scary. The EMPs hit the High Templar, and so there's no Storms left in the army either. Only a couple ended up going off. All of the tech has been killed, and yes, you lose a third base as souL, but you are going to end up pushing across the map and winning the game, right? I mean, I don't think there's any real doubt about it. Oh my god, the snipe gets cancelled by the High Templar auto attack. Who said they do nothing? Saves itself with that auto attack there. As we are going to be seeing the Stalkers actually able to blink on towards a couple of Vikings. Obviously, the splash just never really came into play here from Geralt. His Storms didn't connect. The Colossus went down so quickly, and now souL just has such an advantage. He's going to go dropping towards the main base. He needs to be careful he doesn't get blinked onto by Stalkers. That's one way that this could go very badly for him. Losing 1 full medevac very quickly. Continuing to unload. There's a lot of Stalkers here. Vikings will land as well. They do bonus damage to the Stalkers because they're mechanical. Gets onto that pylon. Disruptor shot comes in. souL loses 2 Ghosts and a lot of other bio units as well. And so, I mean, this is starting to be a defense from Geralt. Medevacs lift up, get away. The Stalkers do not have a blink to chase properly. More bio heading towards the third base. There's an observer set up here already. The SCV leads the charge. souL going to wait a moment or two as he's unloading over here. Still having a fight in multiple locations. These Zealots have to charge in on this side, but they're not going to last long. You have a good EMP just to help speed up the process of attacking this position. The faster you work your way through the Zealots, the better this is going to be for you. A few Stalkers starting to warp in. Zealots and Stalkers gathering up together. Oh, blinks on top of 2 full medevacs. Must be medevacs from the top side now, as souL's army supply is definitely falling apart. The 2-2 upgrades from Geralt as well throughout, up until now have been helping him as well. Finally, souL gets his own 2-2, but now his army's overrun. And I think souL has just lost a little bit too much in the last few moments. This, I don't understand the drop in the main. I don't understand what world you need to drop in the main and risk the medevacs being picked off, rather than just pushing the third base. He had such an army supply advantage. There was no Storms available. Colossus were all dead. Maybe there was a Disruptor coming up, but I mean, pushing the third base, killing that, I mean, boom. You get back for killing you losing your own third base, and I just can't agree with the idea of dropping, because again, there was he knew the one thing that got away from the previous fight was all of the Stalkers. So why on earth would you... I just don't get it. Like, the drop, I feel like drop play is like, you jump in and you can punish someone for being out of position. You can really kind of create openings when they're too defensive in one location as well. I don't think there was any situation where you needed to drop for souL when he decided to. And, I mean, he lost so much, right? Like, the couple of medevacs that got picked off already. The Disruptor shot came in. Now, that was just bad, but he's also tucked away into a weird corner where he doesn't really want to pick up, because if he does, the Stalkers are going to blink in and kill all the medevacs again. So it's the same idea of he's put himself in a weird spot. If the Disruptor comes in with a fight over here, Disruptor pushes in, and Soul's just like, oh, I'm going to split away, I'm going to back away, I don't need a lift up or anything, I'm not exposed to Stalkers. It means that Disruptor probably doesn't find as much either, so yeah, one very weird decision for soul after he won a huge fight on the top side of the map. And soul looking to try and take game number 1 of this. Was looking to try and take game number 1 of this best of 3, but isn't looking pretty now. Geralt might be getting his first map of the day in this group. There's a couple of those Marauders continue to stim down toward the bottom left. Disruptor still hiding away in the fog. Some Stalkers sat up over to the right side. And the little animation of the Disruptor in the middle is really cool, isn't it? It's all spinning around and stuff. Sometimes you don't look at the up-close intricacies of these units sometimes, you know? You just kind of take them all for granted. Oracle's a really cool unit as well when you kind of zoom in and look at it in depth. Liberator production is coming up. It's something that could maybe hold off an army of Geralt as he gets towards maxing out. It's going to be difficult though. I mean, soul really lost his opportunity. He's had that fight, which was extremely good for him. I'd be extremely surprised if Geralt goes for a fight that's as bad again. I mean, let's just face it, like, you look at this now, I mean, soul still has a few AMPs in his army, okay. The ghosts are definitely going to be quite important. There's 3 ghosts, and 2 of them are full energy. The other one is on its way towards being full energy. The Liberators are nice, but there's a very high Stalker count. It's not like the Liberators have range yet. They don't have a critical mass yet. 40 army supply down into the 5th phase. Under attack here. Those Disruptors are going to be a complication as well. It's going to be so difficult to run into those. Chase down units. That's the problem. Disruptors are just so good at forcing a disengagement, forcing you to back away as a Terran player. Players can reposition, you know, get ready to retake the fight, or just decide, no, I don't want to take this fight at all, and then just back away completely. A few different options there as we see Fleet Peak and Extra Stargate finishing, so Geralt just making sure he has a real response to the fact that we could see a bunch of Liberators coming out here shortly. Prism attempting to come in to the main, but there is a good few missile turrets, so it's difficult to really get in there at all. It's really possible. Liberator sieging up in all sorts of directions. Disruption coming in from the back, find 2 Marauders. Well, that's a few Zals that just kind of get given up for free, though. And that's the sort of thing Soul wants. He will be able to max out Soul. That is kind of a big deal, and he does have 5 bases. The 5th base of the Protoss is not quite established yet, so he has a bit of an advantage there. The edge of an EMP. So many High Templar mixed into here as well. Wait, is there really only 2 High Templar? Oh wow, I thought there was a lot more. It's very interesting to see these Zelts getting found instantly. The Liberators will get rid of the War Prism, but it does open the pathway for this army to move in. Is soul just going to base trade? I mean, it looks like it, right? He needs a lot of his snipes to clean up those Zealots. He doesn't have the EMPs right now that he might want. So he's going to give up at least this base. Recall back home. The High Templar didn't recall, so I don't know if that's actually... Okay, well, there's actually a lot of High Templar over here anyways, and the Liberators were all stacked up as they got sieged. So there's a little bit of bio force to try and jump on it. High Templars, there's still more of them. Whip Storms available. Tempest coming out too. Soul's army is kind of somehow winning the fight initially, despite all of that splash damage that got found. Finds another couple of Disruptor shots, dodges away a couple of other Storms. Gets rid of another High Templar here, but all the Storms now coming down. Soul's still 22 probes in the meantime. This Liberator sieging up gets 15 kills on this base. It's going to get cleaned up now as well. And Soul, having actually kept this base alive, that's actually huge for him. Having kept the base alive, he keeps on mining. And maybe is making this work. Just because he's mining that much more. And obviously now with a big deny on probes. Geralt is only on 46 workers. That's only really 2 bases of income. Soul definitely making much more than that at the moment. Bio, Ghost, Vikings and the Liberator pressing out in towards the center of the map. Another single Marine just going to try and lead the charge here. A little bit of bio to the side. Just found by these couple Tempests. Let's try and stem the Marine. He actually stims Marines on top of the Tempest. It actually does a surprising amount. Those few Marines. It's obviously +3 attack versus... I mean, Marines just aren't meant to get on top of Tempest. That's the thing, right? If they do, the Tempest die very quickly, but... it's not meant to happen with the Disruptors and the Storms to zone them away. That's found by a Marine as souL has taken another base here. This time it's just his main base orbital relocated, which means it's a bit tougher to hold this position. It's not supported by a planetary fortress. So that's on the top left-hand side as the Liberator flies over. Still seeing Stalkers, High Templars, Disruptors, and Tempests. Middle of the map as well, down to the bottom. Goes to fighting bio units. Pick off a pylon also. Jump straight in towards the Nexus. The Nexus taking quite a lot of damage. Will go down. Good EMPs across the Stalkers there. Very good EMPs across the Stalkers. The bio coming in from the top side too. The Storms are alright, but the bio units are still targeting down Disruptors, which kind of makes you feel like there's some hope still, right? It's kind of close. In the end, the Stalkers are going to win out, and the Medevac's getting picked away at. Some extra Marauders showing up, but they're bruised and battered. And he took down the 5th base. I think this is the moment where souL just needs to turn around and realize again that he can just keep outproducing his opponent because he's denying these bases. He's not allowing Geralt to really mine comfortably. If you look at the income graph, you can see souL's been mining that much more. And that's made up for these big losses from souL's army again and again. You can see this pathway here is really interesting. When he lost that fight after the big drop, he really was down on army supply, and souL's going to ask if Terran can win. I mean, he still is the player sitting on a comfortable economy. His army is able to rebuild. I mean, Geralt is, on the base that he has, is well on his way to mining out. Obviously, souL losing this planetary fortress here hurts. Geralt's going to tell him yes they can. I mean, good guy Geralt, right? He lets souL know he's not wasting his time in the matchup. Good guy Geralt. What if Geralt just says no and souL's like, oh well, fair enough, I'll just leave then. Tempest Disruptor on the way up. As the production continues into very high-tech units from Geralt. The thing is, I mean, there is still... You get rid of these High Templar, like one EMP gets rid of the Storms. You get rid of those Storms, you dodge the 2 Disruptors. These Tempests don't do a lot at that point. Then you can maybe just get underneath this with Bio. Maybe then you can just get underneath this as Bio. Command Center still building this top left side. I mean, again, it's nice to get a fresh Command Center up because being able to morph it to a planetary, I think is very, very useful to stop even just Zealot run-bys. Obviously, against a large army, it has less of an effect. Well, they'll sometimes still help you out in a larger fight if it takes place towards it. You can see that Geralt is interested in making sure this doesn't happen. Leaving the aggressor now after souL was so good at denying this base of his not so long ago. But those Liberators are very good in that position there, and Sensor Tower and Missile Turret going to be finishing up. The Bio nearby too, and the Ghost also scary. There come the Tempest. Gonna get a shot off. Ghost here hits EMP, hits a good amount of the High Templar actually. Does lose the Ghost to a Disruptor shot afterwards. So this is actually problematic, I think, for Geralt. He's gonna recall away, but he actually leaves a few of his units behind. Now souL might not realize that he is busy currently dealing with Zealots. Over on the top, he's got a drop over here that's unloaded. Geralt's just about to pull High Templar away that were protecting the space. The Zealot's gonna get cleaned up. Again, Geralt's got a bit of army over here. Oh, they're gonna run through Disruptors. He sees them though, so he's going to keep them alive for the moment. There is that stim in. 17 SCVs just lost. Here come the High Templar. souL is going to jump on them, forces the Archon, but all the Marines lost bar 2. But then the Stalkers blink in to kill the Medevac. Gives souL the aggressive opportunity down though. souL's the player pressing forwards rather than the one hanging back. A few Vikings find a Tempest on its own. The Liberators get siege. Puts the EMP on the first High Templar. In fact, 4 High Templar out of energy. This Nexus is going to go down. Vikings really want to come in and fight those Tempests, but there's not that many Vikings. He's going to be able to pick off one of them. The Disruptors are dangerous, but he should be able to target fire them down. He doesn't target fire it, so he goes off right in the center of the Bio. You're going to see the Bio continue to fight. This Archon goes down. Stalkers blink forwards. That's not pretty. Marines and Ghost getting on top of these Tempests could be huge. Another Disruptor shot, though. There's not that many Marines, but it's enough to get the damage on the Tempest again. It is possible to win as Terran apparently. He drops a Mule down. He needs to Bio stim away over the right side. He's going to go for this Nexus. Will kill this here, which denies more mining, denies more income. He's going to continue on this Nexus in the bottom right hand side. A few probes in some trouble here as the Tempest chasing down the Medevac. Zealot gets picked off as well. More and more probes going down here still. Zealot's charging in. Medevac will lift and boost away. Again, Vikings and Bio going to gather to the bottom right from souL as well. Top left, a Planetary Fortress starting to morph in. A few Medivacs on the way out, Marauders and a Marine coming through. A few more High Templar also coming in here. So, coming around. You see the Vikings able to come forward and we'll pick off this Tempest. So Tempest will drop. Second Tempest goes down as well. That's going to be GG called by Geralt. souL is going to pick up game number 1. On the right hand side, our red Protoss player, we have got Geralt from Team Blazer. Up against the blue Terran player to the top left hand side. From Makers, we have got souL. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream tonight. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a couple of cool games actually so far. This is still just our second series, so this one, 26-minute game 1, starting to go the distance. It's been fun so far. It's been really fun. So we get this going, see what happens. souL and Geralt, game number 2 here. souL again up 1-0 in the best of 3, but for some reason that's not setting. There we go. It worked there in the end. But can Terran win, guys? That's what souL asked during that first game. The answer, yes, they can, apparently. So we go from here and see what's going to happen next. Gateway dropping down at the top of this main. Going to be seeing the assimilator finishing up as well. And a couple of probes just jumping on that to pick their way through some of this gas. So a little bit of mining. And as we are going to be seeing the cyber core dropping down in a moment or so as well. Geralt drops down to the low ground, throws down a Nexus, and as the Nexus comes in, we do see that Reaper on the way up. Orbital Command building in the main base as well. And we just wait for the game to get really started up here on Port Alexander. Definitely in terms of how that last game played, this map's a little bit kind of more kept together. A little bit easier to kind of rotate between bases and defend bases as well because of that. So definitely a little bit less spread out than Automaton is. Especially when it comes to on this map, these 4 bases along here are very far over to the left, and you can expand up here as well, and it's very kept back and easy to kind of traverse between. Automaton for the 5th base, you really start going all the way up to like the top left corner of the map almost, and it just feels that little bit further away from that main and natural that you're defending the forward base as well. It's interesting, I guess. There's definitely still options for those kind of multiple attacks, multiple counters, and stuff like that. As we get this started up, Stargate about halfway done here from Geralt. As you just see the first Adept pops out, second Adept on the way. So a bit of a change up from that blink opening that we saw in game number 1. Nice quick blink. Just the SCV currently denied on the command center. SCV pulled away in plenty of time. There's a couple of Marines come down. That will be enough to, with the Reaper and the Hellion, shut this down. Nice grenade as well. Really nice grenade. Just going to pop that Adept around, stop it from dealing as much damage, and pick it up that much more easily. Command center starts morphing into the orbital as the Reaper and the Hellion go out and towards the middle of the map. Gotta say a quick shout out as well and a thank you to sorry, I just got completely carried away. Backspace community, thank you so much for the 7-month resub. You sub-resub during that last game, and I was like, oh, well, this moment's quite exciting, so I'll get to you in a moment. And I was like, and you know what? souL looks like he's about to win. Then the game went on another 10 minutes or so I'm sorry for the delay on your shout-out. Black Spade Kamui with the 7 months says, another month and more great content. Thanks, Wardy, for saving my sanity. Thank you so much for the 7 months of love. Thank you for subscribing. As we do see a couple of Adepts here from Geralt heading towards the upper left. The Oracle gonna be running around the left side as well. I've never noticed that this says refuel docks down here on Port Alexander. Get some Vespine refuel, let's go. Gas up a little bit. Oracle picks off this SCV. A few Marines coming over, but there's the 2 Adepts as well to cause some complications. Nice depot raise, and looks like this is a deflection, especially now with the Viking out to push the Oracle away a bit more easily. This is looking like a good defense indeed as souL, well, He's got a Cyclone out as well. Another Viking on the way. So with 2 Vikings, you actually get into a very good harassment squad. With 2 Vikings land in the main, they saw one-shot and probes, and they're actually able to get a lot of damage done very quickly. It actually kind of ramps up very quick. So it's something that I actually, funny enough, saw Braddock doing quite a lot of, is you see, oh, the Viking lives just before this Adept goes down. Do you drop down to kill the Adept, or... Oh, he's going to try and do it, but the Adept's running away into the corner. I think it shades away in time. That went a little bit wrong for souL there. Loses the Cyclone. Doesn't kill the Adept. That's a little unfortunate, but he does have Marines. Now he's got a tank, and he's going to bring these Vikings forwards with this push. So he is going to press forwards. Going into a cloak behind this. As he waits for a third Viking to finish. Obviously, the Vikings now will be very good at shutting down those Oracles. And, well, what else does Geralt have to play with? He's got Stalkers with no blink. He does have a few gates, but he's also invested into +1 attack already. At the very least here, I think this is a cancel on the third base. I don't see how this third base survives. Especially just because, again, the Vikings are going to do so well to push these Oracles around. So here we go. souL shows straight up over here. Not sure if bunkers here are really necessary. I guess we'll see. Yes, a couple of units will warp in. Geralt will attempt to defend this. Pylon on the third base will be denied, though, so warp-ins over here will no longer be a thing. Now, I think you have to cancel this Nexus, right? He's going to let it finish. The Oracle does go down. 3 Viking shots. Able to capitalize there, as we are seeing the Marines continue to press forwards, and again, that Nexus is taking quite a lot of damage at the moment, so Nexus taking quite a few hits is going to go down. So Nexus falls, and at this point you just unsiege the tank and go home, salvage the bunker. No reason to try and get too much more done. Oh, nice counter with the Stalkers, catching a reinforcing siege tank. It's a nice valuable unit that you've just found there. You can see the Vikings are heading towards the mineral line. They know they can get good damage done. I love that souL's actually even going to get a couple of his SCVs back home as well from this. This is really just such a non-committed attack from him. He was able to get him, not really non-committed, but he was able to get away with so much kept alive and lift those Vikings back up, and the Oracle instantly has to run away. Vikings can get away pretty quick too, but then the Phoenix can chase for that one low health one. Doesn't though. So the Vikings go unpunished. And we've seen a couple of extra racks on the way up. The third CC in the main base dropping down from souL. The third Nexus from Geralt about to finish as well. And we are just going to be seeing the +2 attack on the charge. Continuing on for him. No upgrades at all actually from souL. He's about to start 1-1 on the double engineering bay that he's just finished up. Geralt just now getting that third base up and running. souL's third going to land in a few moments time, so setting up towards that. Stalkers pressing forwards, and well, again, Marines gathering with a tank, waiting for the upgrades at this point. Stim combat, maybe 1-1 even. Not going to see much more from this until that's all done. Maybe we'll see a couple of drops once the stim pack's completed, and then maybe a 1-1 push when 1-1 is done as well. Something, possibility there to see the Stalkers. Again, SCV blinking out. Not really much to say about that one. 2 Cloak Banshees show up, and obviously we've not really seen any sign of the Cloak Banshees until now, so it's coming in as a bit of a surprise for Geralt, who loses 6, 7, 8 workers. Sorry, just 7. Wasn't expecting the revelation on the Oracle. It's a very good way to shut down these Banshees, but still 7 probes killed. Not bad. It's just a shame that he is going to only get away with one of the Banshees, because 2 Banshees kept alive would have meant that attack could have continued another time. 1 Banshee doesn't really have many opportunities, especially as Geralt takes the precaution of the Photon Cannon on the third. I thought maybe a shield battery actually. The shield battery would have really just stopped the single Banshee from doing much, but you might be afraid of another Banshee being made, maybe. Anyways, he's going to shut down this... okay, well, he's going to shut down this Banshee of the Phoenix. Obviously, just gets a cannon for safety's sake. Then he doesn't really need a shield battery because the Banshees are no longer a thing. Pressing forwards. Looks like souL wants to go forth and deal some damage, but won't have 1-1 for a little while. He'll have it when he ends up getting across the map. First Colossus starts up. No extended thermal land started yet, so that Colossus is going to be unupgraded for a little while. A few Marines and a Marauder pulling around the bottom side as a Stalker blinks forward. souL just leaving his Widow Mines to run forwards on their own. The thing is, the Zealots and stuff kind of warping him back at home means that you're a little bit of trouble here, really. Stalkers blink away as souL trying to come in from the bottom side. He does see that stasis wall. He's able to just straight up kill this here. First Colossus still not out as souL pressing forwards. I mean, feels like he's got okay-ish army supply against what he's fighting. It's just so much bio, and honestly, the bio right now doing a good job getting rid of a lot of these Zealots, the tank, focusing on a lot of the Stalkers as well. pressing through. I mean, here comes the Colossus. Finally, some splash damage. souL will just split away. Maybe try and fight this. Sends a few units forward, but I think the Zealots are probably enough to turn it around. There's another reinforcement warp in as well, which really is the shutdown point of this because of, you know, another 10 Zealots running here. You're just not going to do enough with souL, so you do have to get away from that. souL taking the supply lead though. Only a few workers behind. He knows he's up against Colossus now as well, so he instantly adds on the second starport. Might just overtake the reactor of this factory. Winter mine production against Colossus generally falls off in terms of it just doesn't do a lot when you continue on here because the Colossus are so often able to just clean up those winter mines ahead of the fight. Generally you just focus up on Vikings and Bio, and then Liberators as a follow-up as well. Generally the factory just sort of goes away and acts as sometimes like a scout for war prisms coming in. souL's going to kill this third base. I love this little split that he does. A few units on the bottom side of the army just targeting down the Nexus. A few units on the top side continuing to fight as well, so he does get something of a trade out on the army as well. It's not just purely all going to be focused on the Nexus, which obviously can be a bit all in. As one winter mine left here, he can blink away from this. He literally has observers, so I'm not sure why he's so afraid. He has observers. He could have just ran in and killed it so easily. It's a little bit surprising. souL's actually going to load up medevacs and go dropping across the map. It's a good way to keep Geralt pinned back. It would maybe make it a little bit scary if Geralt had decided just to attack forwards though and just to commit in here. Turns out that is not the case. So souL will kind of get away with this drop. Fusion core dropping in from him in the main. So wants to go in towards that Liberator range nice and quickly this time around. The Liberators are that very just strong zoning opportunity for the Terran player. They really can just say to the pros, well look, you just can't fight into this position, dude. Like, it's just not going to work for you. These two medevacs are going to boost for the natural. There is a cannon and a shield battery here, but two medevacs units should be able to take that down, no problem. Colossus now on the way over as the medevacs go towards the main. These units should lift up and just go to the top side now, because this is going to get really tough for Geralt to defend all these different positions. Bro's taking quite a bit of damage, but the shield battery definitely keeping some of them alive for a while. Now this army didn't stim just yet, as actually we see this drop back into the natural, going to go for the storm. Cancels it by killing the Temper Archives. It's a huge shutdown in terms of further options for the Protoss. Now he's not going to have Storm for a while, and that extends the time in this game where souL can just feel very confident taking fights. And he's about to get 2-2 upgrades. souL will take an upgrade lead in the game for the first time as well. As he takes down this top side base, look at this, another army stims in towards the bottom side. That's a Colossus that's just starting his own. souL recognizes it, maybe just a moment too late. He actually doesn't do that much with this, but he's already killed one base up here. You know, I don't think it's a shame that the third survives. Yeah, maybe it would have been nice if he killed it, but let's face it, he's still done a pretty good job. Gets shut down now. That medevac probably shouldn't have tried to lift up. This other medevac's a little bit trapped. I think souL has just built up so much behind this. Look at this army. Maybe he needs to take a moment to replace those medevacs. 2 or 3 would just go a long way to keeping this army healed up, because obviously he's just been focused on Liberator production. So it's just love to see a couple medevacs brought back into play as the Storm upgrade starts once again now from Geralt, having to rebuild this. Those 2 medevacs are still back over to the left. Storm Chrono boosting now, +2 ground armor. On the way on the Forge. Smith Academy coming into the mineral line, the barracks as well. All of this still just getting set up to go. All of those Liberators and souL gathering together too. +3 attack. Starting up from souL here again. That's started. To see the ship weapon upgrade from souL. Also going to come in on the armory. So again, that ship weapon's on the way to Storm, +2 armor is on the way out. All of these upgrades from Geralt really just establishing himself here. But the Liberators are going to be so scary. I think the Liberators are really just a massive game changer in all of this. Because last time we saw this many Liberators, there was Tempest up to kind of fight against them. This time the Fleet Beacon is only just now starting to build as souL already pressing forwards. And at this stage you just leapfrog the Liberators a couple at a time. And I mean, you're going to push this army back. You're going to end up on top of a base sooner rather than later. And you have a lot of Liberators. And again, you just do 2 at a time, 2 at a time. And you're making very good progress. Liberator sets up over here as well. And that's actually really annoying because it takes a lot of units to deal with this. And Stalkers, I'm not sure 100% if they reach. So those probes currently not mining. Again, there's another couple Liberators, and you can see he's what, like another siege zone away from hitting the 3rd base? Stalker's blinking, get one Liberator kill though. And that's the thing, the Bio still has to be there to protect it. A bit of a Bio run by in towards the third, but, well, Medivacs will have to lift up and back away. I love the Void Ray production, that's actually very smart from Geralt. I wonder what the Void Ray is for when I saw in the production tab, but it makes a lot of sense, obviously, all of a sudden, where it's just going to be what he uses to make sure you can shut down the Liberators with range, rather than having to run Stalkers around or send his Tempest across. Obviously, he doesn't have Tempest for a while as well. His third base is going down. Again, souL's bullied himself into a position that Geralt cannot fight against. So the Nexus drops, the cannons will go down. A couple of the simulators being picked off here. As we do see a couple of Stalkers, Archon and a Zealot up to the top side. A Probe going to drop down the fourth Nexus. So fourth Nexus on the way. Fire returns, I'm just going to pick off this assimilator. More Liberators sieging that High Templar. You can see it just sitting on the edge of the range. I mean, this is frustrating as well when your army's just not in hold position. You see those ghosts. They hit the EMP. I actually don't think they hit the EMP. I think it was just a Liberator shot that somehow didn't quite kill the High Templar. And go hit the EMP now to stop the storm from coming down. So he needs to be careful. He still has EMPs to cover the High Templars that can storm him. He's obviously getting very close to this natural expansion. Getting into a very dangerous spot. Archon gets picked off by the Liberators as well. Split still loses a ghost to the Disruptor. But now he's into the natural, and this is where the problems arise, because now Geralt is kind of forced into a fight. And souL is like, well, okay, perfect. You're fighting into my Liberators. This is everything I could dream of as a Terran player. The Storms are very good. Vikings are a little bit late to show up, and when they do show up, they'll sort of do okay. Chasing down a couple of the Colossus. Actually gets the Tempest initially, then the Void Ray. Just wants to try and get rid of the anti-air, of course. He gets like to fight back against the Vikings. More Tempest showing up, though. An extra Storm is dropping down. Impressed by Geralt's hold, but more Vikings on the way across the map, and obviously units in general from souL just streaming out. He's gone up to 5 bases, moving towards a 6th base. He's got extra command centers beyond that as well. He is absolutely in command of this game right now. As he pushes straight forwards into the natural. A High Templar combo morphs into an Archon. You can see those Stalkers coming from the other side, trying to get some shots off onto the lips, but the Vikings actually going to the other side to fight the Colossus. Well, he actually leaves the Bio to do that as he comes back and kills the Tempest instead. Then he's going to go for the Colossus. I mean, again, Geralt just bleeding out right here. This is a great series, though. Really back and forth. Really good games. I mean, souL felt much more in command of this one all the way throughout than he did in the first game, which was definitely more back and forth. Definitely more opportunities from Geralt. Geralt really put up a fight here once again. Making the most out of this. We're going to be seeing Liberator sieges up. The Bio going to pick its way through that cannon. So the cannon goes down. Vikings will land. And as those Vikings land, Zealots are getting picked away at. Archon's going to go down shortly too. This is really looking to be GG's. In the next few moments, makes results is warping in. There's probes from Geralt going up to the top. I mean, it's not over yet because souL's actually got money he hasn't spent for a little while. But if he builds up another army, it is not looking pretty at all. So Not Good, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate it. Getting some love in the chat for Not Good on the Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for subscribing. Army continues out into the center. Observer hanging out overhead. Disruptor building up 4. A few more bio units. The cloak for the ghosts. And souL just has the entirety of the map, and that's what's just so filling of confidence about his position, right? It's just the entire map is just absolutely filled with bases. How can souL lose this position? I don't actually know. I mean, tried to lose the last game though. Medivacs boosting through the south side. Archon, Stalkers, some units in general pushing through the middle from Geralt. This Medivac's going to be coming across and get ready to unload in the main base. Bio unloads. Going to see a recall actually back over here. Just full recall just to deal with that little bit of a Medivac drop. I mean, souL's about to be maxed out. When he maxes out, he will push once again, but until then, he's just playing some drops. He's just having a little bit of fun and just being cautious as well, I guess. Doesn't want to attack too soon. Kills off that Nexus just as his build doesn't even get a cancel, Geralt. Hiding away from these zealots. On the bottom side, these medevacs look like they're going to get back into the main, but there's still an army over here. I mean, with no threat of a larger force pushing out, Geralt can just leave chunks of units in his main and so on. When this large army pushes, though, you can then punish the fact that that is happening. Even a nuke being built right now from souL, as this second game goes past the 20-minute marker as well. A lot of bio from souL coming over towards the right-hand side. A lot of units coming over towards the right-hand side here now. So pushing over and going straight on up in towards the fourth phase. Liberator start a siege. A couple of initial storms are pretty decent. Disruptor just kind of wanders straight in here. He needs to be careful. I mean, there's just not enough zealots to even slow down this bio from pressing forwards at all. The next Archon goes down instantly, and this is just a matter of numbers at this point. And the numbers are heavily in souL's advantage. One Disruptor trying to hide in the corner, waiting to get used. But it's just going to end up getting picked off before it is. Finally, souL pushes in for the win. One of those games that definitely ended a little while ago. And souL just making sure he had everything he needed to come and push forwards here as goes in towards the third base as well. Couple Tempers still being a little bit of a nuisance, but there's nothing to support them. Can Protoss win? And Geralt as he types out GG. And souL takes the series. Now videos are completed, we can go on into the series. Bottom right hand side, our red Zerg player from Team Liquid, we have got TLO. Up against the blue Zerg in the top left hand side from Infinity Gaming, Namshar. Okay, Extractor was on the way down here, but then decides to cancel. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, who even needs the Extractor anyways, right? So cancels that Extractor. Okay, just an Extractor trick is what happened here. As we're going to be seeing, TLO will opt for a 15 hatchery, which is a bit of an earlier hatch already. That's what Namshar will go for. Namshar will 16 hatch, although just a moment or two later, actually. Very minor difference, but TLO is down a drone, so it does have a little bit of an effect there, a little bit of an impact to this. So that's dropping down. Go and see this Overlord from Namshar coming down in towards the center of Overlord as well. Spawn and pull dropping down on each side. Early game ZVZ gets established. TLO will take a worker lead in a moment, just by one or so. So it's obviously been a little back and forth the way that these players are getting set up. As we get this rolling. How's everyone doing out in the chat? The last few days, this week in general on the stream has been so quiet. The chat has just been like, I am asleep. We do not talk. We are all robots. You guys have been really quiet lately, guys. What's up? What's going on? You all okay? You guys all right out there? What's happening? Let me know what's up. Let me know what's going on. It really has just been it's been crazy. Like, every year this seems to happen. We have IEM Katowice, and then for the next 2 months, stream viewership just dies. Viewers in the chat are super quiet, and it's like, it's just really weird. Everyone's just like, it's just like post-Katowice depression or something. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, everyone's just like, yeah, well, I've had my epic fill of StarCraft for the next couple of months. I'm just gonna go on hiatus. You know, even God forbid I manage to get the effort to make it onto a stream. I'm never actually gonna talk as well. No way. I know we have this every year. It's kind of crazy. March and April. It's kind of weird because it's like, I guess I don't know. It is kind of just a weird couple of months because it is always kind of the couple of months where we have this downtime. So funky stuff as we do see the hatchery dropping down on the third base then. Meanwhile, a couple of queens poking their way through this Overlord, which is heading up through the center of the map a little bit. So Overlord taking some damage as the Roach-Ron from Namshar dropping down. That's going to be about halfway done already. So bypassing straight to Roaches. TLO looking to do the same, even for Chamber and a Roach-Ron for him. He will get a +1 a little bit faster than Namshar will, as both have opted to skip the link speed here in these early stages. Yeah, the Katowice hangover. I like that way of talking about it, Nanhi, in the chat. It's true. It is like a bit of a Katowice hangover. Everyone's like, woof, we took so much StarCraft to Katowice. I just can't take more StarCraft now. it's okay. We get through. We survive the slow months. We got WSG next week as well, in case you guys do find a way to watch some more StarCraft WSG on Monday. I was gonna say I'm casting WSG next week as well. I'm flying to Ukraine to cast from the Starladder Studios on Sundays, so that's obviously me. I'm not going to be streaming from home for the next week or so after Saturday, but I'll be casting WSG, so you guys can definitely check that out. +1 missiles coming in on each side of the map. Roach speed getting started from TLO, and the lair just on the way up as well. Scanning that lair coming through as the creep continuing to spread around. A little bit of creep coming out in the middle of the map as well, actually. Yeah, unless creep just TLO setting up to really get his roaches across the map very quickly with that +1 in roach speed. Namshar's lair much later. I mean, these two guys have just gone for very different routes into kind of a similar end zone in the end. I mean, you know, they're both going to end up on 3 base +1 roaches. TLO's going to do it at faster speed and a little bit of a later third hatch. Namshar does have a faster third hatch. Actually, Namshar has a army supply lead right now. TLO has a lot of money he didn't spend yet. Well, I've seen a few Ravagers, but I'm not sure if you can really get too aggressive here. These Queens are kind of out on their own, getting greedy, going for that Overlord, which just doesn't quite go down. The Ravager gets picked off as well, so Namshar capitalized on TLO's push across the map. I mean, this is terrible for TLO. He does have roach speed, so he can back away. That's the one thing that TLO has here. These Overlord creep pathways as well. You see what he does instantly? He cancels this Overlord spread and creep to take the creep away in case Namshar keeps going for the counterattack. TLO realizing that was maybe a moment of danger for him. Already losing the Queens definitely hurts a little bit now, and well, still has the road speed to kind of reposition it to take some better fights with maybe, but can't find an opening here. Namshar's in location, and Namshar a couple of workers behind, but very comfortable on the roach count. I wonder if Namshar just keeps going for roaches. Doesn't continue, doesn't go back into drones or anything, just says, you know what, killed a good little bit so far. Let's just go into more and more roaches. If I don't start +2 and my opponent does, then it's going to be another advantage for me. I mean, TLO building 6 Overlords at once there definitely doesn't help him too much either. So it kind of feels like Namshar's going to have a ton of roaches to push across the map with here. As you do see those roaches and Ravagers moving out into the center of the map, heading over to the far left-hand side. Roaches and Namshar getting set up on the third base. And Namshar's going for this. He's not built any more drones still, so he really is just looking to fight. And you can see TLO again getting in position to be the aggressor, but there is roach speed from Namshar now, so he can chase these armies. He's already sending roaches around the top side of the map. And he's just going to go. He's got a huge amount of time before TLO hits +2, so he's got a good timing window to attack in here. And those roaches are going to have to be careful. And he had a shot that kind of pulled the other roaches around, a couple close with bars. Not really connected as Namshar dodges straight in towards that army. Gets left the ramp, gets on top again. If he's got more roaches, then he can take away any sort of concave advantage where, small roaches from TLO attacking him. He should be able to make this work. And there's a couple more throws to bars drop down. Namshar does a good job of dodging away. More roaches getting picked off over to the right side too. And Namshar is going to overrun as TLO types out GG. Namshar picks up a pretty simple game number 1. Check it out as we kick off to the bottom right-hand side. Our red Zerg down a game. Can he fight back? This is Team Liquid's TLO. Top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Infinity Gaming. We have got Namshar. Okay, so a second game of this best of 3. Looking to see how this will set up in the next few moments as we get underway, we get started up. And yeah, just looking to see what's going to be happening over the next few moments as the world of EVZ is a weird and wonderful place. I mean, again, link speed cancels in that last game from both straight to the roaches. And again, it was just TLO really trying to be that a little bit too aggressive, really, more than anything else. Really did end up getting punished for it. So, Pig, thank you so much for the 10-month sub. Appreciate it. How you doing? Enjoyed your casting at Katowice when I was able to catch some when I wasn't on the B stream. Hope you had a good time and fun travels. probably still on your way home, right? What? It's only Thursday. You've been traveling since Monday. Probably about halfway back to Australia at this point. Probably about halfway back, as we do see the players just getting set here. Overlord to the top left, Overlord to the bottom right. Moving around and getting a going. Yeah, early game is easy. Can obviously get pretty explosive pretty quickly if we do opt towards that kind of Ling Bane playstyle compared to the roaches we saw in the last game, which still actually was a pretty explosive startup. But Ling Bane obviously really gets things going quickly, aggressively, and kind of a bit all over the place too. So watching out for that possibility here as we get this going. And speed building up, and we do just see TLO once again is not going to go Ling Speed yet. No Evo Chamber, so it's not like he's going to go Carapace into Ling Speed or something along those lines. It's going to be pretty standard. Straight to a lair, actually. Okay, well, a very fast lair like this could mean something like a Nidus. Okay, no, there's the Evo Chamber again. We see a lot of Niduses off of fast lairs like this one. As we do see the Evo Chamber initially. This side looks like Namshar might commit through to the Ling Speed. This is about halfway done at the moment. The Rotron from TLO starting up as well. It's just this lair did feel like a little early for the Roach speed, but yeah, I guess it's definitely possible. There's also a couple builds where you make it really look like it's going to be that kind of +1 Roach speed, and then you actually do go Nidus, and you cancel the +1, which you maybe your opponent's stats, for example, and so on. TLO again getting aggressive with his first queen, coming really far forwards here to pick off an Overlord. It's a little bit risky the further out you go with that queen, so got to be a little careful. Rotoran and the Evo Chamber dropping down from Namshar. So we're going to be seeing another couple of extractors starting up as well. There's a couple of extractors starting on the natural. These couple of queens hanging out on the natural also. Third hatchery from Namshar going to be finishing in a few moments. There's 5 more roaches on the way out. +1 missiles coming in. It's all getting going. We see the Queen of TLO coming through to push that Overlord back from Namshar, pushing it all the way out over to the left-hand side. There's the Rotoran finishing on the natural expansion as well. Queen drops down a Creep Tumor, and another Creep Tumor in the center from TLO. All of this getting gathered up as roaches continue to the top left-hand side. +1 missiles just over halfway done. The Roach speed just over halfway done. More Overlords on the way out. And all of this continues to get going here. TLO comes in. He's going to be able to pick off the Creep Tumor. So Creep Tumor goes down, and I mean, it's kind of similar to what TLO wanted to do last time. He's trying to fight with a few of these roaches. He's got that Overlord highway of creep already coming across. That first queen that came across for that creep spread. Very important to push this so quickly. It just gives TLO that little bit of mobility, but down 6 workers, it feels like Namshar is up 6 and also just matching him in army supply. There's that roach speed from TLO kicking in, and he'll have the faster +1, but again, just does not have the units as he drops down to Spire at home, looking to move into a bit of a different style from these roaches so far. So roaches still gathering up. Gonna press in towards the third. I mean, more and more roaches on the way out from Namshar. Roaches dive in, get a couple of shots off. Roaches and queens from Namshar going to be able to push back against this army of TLO. And TLO just wants to sell the idea of he's still being aggressive with roaches. And little pickoffs like this, dives in, 2 roach kills, gets a third on the way out. I mean, little things like that scare Namshar into making more and more roaches. And again, I mean, now TLO's equal on workers. Namshar's still building roaches. He's definitely not preparing for Mutalisks. Although no third hatchery here from TLO, so that's something he's got to keep in mind. It also means it limits how much gas he can mine, so he isn't going to have tons and tons of Mutalisks right away either. It's just going to be just a handful to begin with here as this gets started up. So roaches coming over. I mean, the Spire about to finish. There's the left from Namshar. So again, he can't really get aggressive even with his roaches, which is what's going to be really nice about this Spire time in the TLO. There's not really going to be a way to realistically kind of punish this. Like, the roaches can't go across the map without roach speed. TLO can make more of his own roaches to defend that if that becomes the case. And the meter's obviously going to be able to get a lot of damage done if those roaches are moving across the map slowly. So really, again, just being punished a little bit for the lack of... well, lack of anything so far. from Namshar, but Namshar continue to drone up. Let's see what these meters can do from TLO as they come out onto the map. Obviously, targets will be overlords. Drones will be kind of a big deal as well. Get rid of a few of these. TLO wanting to set up into his own third hatch and into his own little bit of economy. There we go. Meters fly in, and immediately the roaches go off to the side. He is going to dive on this first queen. Obviously, there's no spore crawlers yet because Namshar was not expecting this to happen. The roaches moving across do kind of, again, kind of scare the meters into coming to deal with them a little bit, dealing some damage. I'm actually just going to start picking off the roaches. It's kind of weird. I mean, he doesn't want to go all the way across, right? Because he's on slow roaches. He's going to lose so much in the process. This does buy time. Oh, TLO actually dives in with the counter-attack on the third base, so he's going to pick the third hatchery off. Good pick-off, actually, by TLO. Great move. Apologies from my side. Missed the start of that there. And that is why Namshar obviously decided to start pulling back a little bit. Queen's pulling towards a spore crawler, but the Queen's not really going to defend too much overall because at the end of the day, there's no third hatch here anymore. So TLO is going to end up a base up. Now Namshar we start to see starting up a Nidus network, so he can go across the map and counter, but TLO didn't overmake meters or anything, so I don't think he's weak to any sort of counter attack and so on. In fact, I think TLO's kind of fine. Like, again, he's got a decent number. He's making a few more actually after he killed off a queen. Maybe he feels like he's shut down enough anti to keep going. And he kind of wanted to turn for that queen right there as he turns for the overlord. Another overlord picked off. Namshar supply blocked. Nidus about to finish. Namshar will have 1/1 upgrades against just +1. TLO going into +2. Didn't start that as quickly. It's slightly more expensive, and it takes a little bit longer to build. As we're going to be seeing these meters pushing through. Roach is taking a little bit of damage. Overseer getting picked off as well. So Overseer will also go down. Nidus and the Worm coming up on the other side. We do have this building pushed, taken down. Queen gets picked off as well. Drone's going to be continue to be picked away at here. So TLO losing quite a lot, but he's got roaches across the map as well. Kill the roach drawing ASAP. I kind of like it for TLO because I think in the world of a base trade, TLO has a way better time. I mean, he's losing a lot very quickly here. The meters eventually will kill these roaches. I'm just surprised we haven't seen this roach drone killed off. We've got lava here from Namshar, which could be big because if he uses that to build a few drones, he could get drones away onto the map. Something that TLO, I don't know if TLO has done so yet. He must have done because he's got no drones in the main or the natural. Those drones are somewhere, which means they can build structures. Namshar is building one drone and it is on the natural, but it gets cancelled. So, okay, he gets a few drones out. The roach was chasing it. He lets them get away. I mean, I think TLO just knows that with the Mutalisks, he generally does just win these base trades because Namshar does not really have the roaches to keep on fighting. And there it is, GG. TLO wins the base trade, ties it up 1. Let's jump on in to the bottom left side of New Repugnancy. Was up by 1, but now all tied up. Our red Zerg player. We've got Namshar from Infinity Gaming. And at the top right, our blue Zerg. Team Liquid's TLO. Just joined us. You're wondering what matches are coming up. We've got this TLO versus Namshar series, followed by Geralt versus TLO. Then we're going to be having souL versus TLO and souL versus Namshar to wrap things up today. Just 6 best of 3s. This is our third of them, so after this we'll be halfway through the group. It's been a pretty long group so far, actually, with this series going to 3 games. Namshar versus, souL versus Geralt was actually a pretty long series as well. A really long series for 2-0 best of 3. It was like 45 minutes long, so not super long, right? But for like a best of 3 that's only 2 maps, it's one of the longer ones we've seen recently. I mean, we can see longer as well, but it's probably the longest series of the tournament so far. What's up, Quackster? One coming in with the Twitch Prime sub for 5 months of support. Got some hype in the chat for Quackster. Loving the name, loving the support. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Much appreciated. Get some hype in the chat. Get some Wardy hearts. Subscribers, wake up. Let's spam some Wardy hearts. Get some hype going. Or something up in here. It's so quiet in chat today. It's so quiet. Get this going, looking to see what's happening. A few Zerglings here early from Namshar did opt for a pool first, so not just a pool first, but then making the 6 Zerglings as well really means that he's going to try and get aggressive with it. So bringing 6 Lings across the map already. definitely gets very interesting in these sort of situations, because if TLO skips Lings of his own, which he does, you really do get punished a little, quite heavily, because, well, Namshar shows up with 6 Lings, and what do you have? Well, the Queen initially isn't exactly great to defend 6 Lings, because if it gets surrounded, it will just die. And obviously, your Queen isn't going to be ready right away either, so you're in a bit of a tough spot here as TLO is Namshar diving for drones, and if he just kills a couple of drones here, this would be really good for him. I mean, there's the one. The attempt on the second gets a Zergling so far as well. There's the 2 drones, and there's the third, so really nice from Namshar. In the end, just getting the 3 drones. That's really good. I mean, because 6 Lings could have been 3 drones anyways, if that's what he made. So, it's the fact that he, gets that, plus the fact he gets a couple Lings, and he's forced a lot more Lings from TLO, though TLO is not going to slow down on Zerglings at all. Throwing down the Baneling Nest here. TLO is going to set up for a Ling Bane all-in, essentially. A lot of Lings on the way out, only 18 drones. Namshar builds an Evo chamber, starts to wall off at the front. We're drawing 2. The other thing, though, from Namshar, he just lost his Overlord, so he actually does not see this coming at all at the moment. Namshar could be in some real trouble here in the next minute or two. Because here you go, TLO is coming across the map. A ton of Zerglings, Ling speed kicks in. A ton of Zerglings here as he pushes straight across. I mean, Namshar sees it too late to wall off, so he'll just go towards the ramp, where the Queens will be able to wall. Now morphing in some Baners already, TLO, though. What does Namshar do? I mean, I guess he'll wait for Roaches at this point. Drone's pulling down. I mean, this gives TLO a lot of space to surround. Those Banes about to finish. First Baning connection, very good here. Queen in the front goes down. The next Queen on the ramp also about to drop, and only a couple of Roaches on the way out. Kind of feels like there's not going to be enough, and TLO just storms on in, and Namshar is going to drop this series 2-1 as TLO just has way too much. The couple of Roaches on the way out, not going to be enough to turn this around. Namshar just does not have the vision of this attack coming. 0 drones remaining. There's a couple of Roaches running around. Maybe a bit of frustration from Namshar here. As well as they continue streaming. There's the GG. And TLO picks it up in 4.5 minutes. This TVZ. That 4th series here tonight. To the bottom right hand side, our red Zerg player from Infinity Gaming. We've got the Swedish Zerg player Namshar up against the blue Terran player on the top left-hand side from Makers. We've got souL. It's game 1 of this best of 3 series. Starting on Port Alexander, souL has shown us a few different TVZ styles as of late. Back in Katowice, he is still trying to play some of those styles of play that were, some of the styles that were kind of funky, with kind of a battle cruiser opening here and there and some bits and pieces like that. And you see SCVs just on the way out here early. Namshar, for his ZVT, definitely has been a player to mix things up a little bit as well. Generally tends more towards the Roach-based styles. He's one of those players rather than the Ling Bane kind of style. I mean, it kind of goes along with his ZVP that we talked about earlier today as well, where, you're expecting to play kind of Roach Hydra a little bit and kind of go from there. So yeah, pretty fun matchup. I think souL, in terms of matchups, his TVZ is generally his best, so he's probably pretty happy to be in a group with 2 Zerg players. Excited to see who advances today, because we already have 4 players in our qualifier bracket, or in our playoff bracket, which we'll be playing out on Saturday. Kung Fu Banda finished in 1st place of Group A with Acheron in 2nd place, advancing over Nurtio and Cass. Then Group B yesterday, we saw Marine Lord advancing through in 1st place with Denver advancing through in 2nd. So we already have 2 Terran players as Zerg and Protoss advanced into the round of 8. And today, well, I mean, looking good for Zerg to advance still, but still possible for Geralt to advance alongside souL, so it's still possible no Zerg advances. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who joins those other guys. We're setting ourselves up for a pretty interesting round of 8 setup on Saturday, starting at midday CET, by the way. We'll probably be doing 2 round of 8 matches, 2 best of 3s, then both the semi-finals and the finals. So 2 best of 3s and 3 best of 5s is the plan for Saturday. We'll see how it goes. We'll probably stick with that, though, and kind of go from there. A little bit of back and forth on this Reaper as we see the Queen just hanging out around the front as well. Reaper trying to threatening to kind of dodge in a little bit. That lair on the way up from Namshar as we hit the 3-minute mark here. You're going to see the Reaper dropping a grenade, bopping a couple of Zerglings back as the third hatchery going to take a couple nibbles or a couple shots from that Reaper as well. So a little bit of back and forth here. The lair is super fast, so Namshar definitely looking towards the Nidus network here in game number 1. I mean, for a lair that fast, there's no doubt in my mind that's got to be a Nidus, right? No link speed, there's the Roach Roaring. A fusion core from souL, unfortunately, is just super weak against this because the fusion core, the battlecruiser opening, typically the answer to a battlecruiser opening was some kind of roach aggression initially in the matchup. I mean, to go into a Nidus all in and hit roach aggression through a Nidus obviously just speeds up the time the roaches hit, right? So this Nidus is looking very good. The couple Hellions and the Reaper don't really do much for souL at the moment. They're picking away at the third hatchery, and well, the Queens are like, sure, you mean you do that, buddies. Like, you're not getting any information down there, though, and you're not really doing much at all. The night is about halfway done now. The roaches will build very shortly. Builds a couple of drones on this third base. I kind of like this because it makes it look like this third base is being saturated. And it obviously looks as though, you know, especially building the drones here, you know, if souL goes forwards, he'll see those drones. Namshar pulls them back now, just being a little bit careful, and does just want them to actually mine, so better than building any of the roaches out that third base, though, because that's obviously a bit more of a reveal. He does start to set up now as the Queens will press forwards again, pushing the Hellions back, but at this point it's already known about. The Nidus on the way down in the main, and soul's going to try and set up a wall off here, so 2 engineering bases to wall this area off. The problem is the starport is in range, and the starport is obviously going to take an absolute eternity to finish this battlecruiser, so I mean, this engineering bay wall-off is nice, but is it going to buy enough time? I feel like the answer to that is most likely going to be a big fat nuh-uh. Never Nidus on the way. I feel killing the starport is actually very important, though, because if you just kill the tech lab, I mean, do you expect a battlecruiser here as Namshar? He does see the fusion core, so he must be fairly confident that he can deal with this, even if a battlecruiser does pop out. I just feel like pushing forwards, okay, I mean, you get rid of a bunker, Marines are fighting against the Hellions. I guess it's still going to take quite a while for the BC to be able to clean up this army, and the queen count is pretty impressive with 5 queens here. And it's not like you can just run away from those queens forever, although you might be able to surround or heal up with these SCVs and repair. That's something usually the battlecruisers don't get on their side. Finally, a couple of SCVs drop from the factory will force the siege tank on it. Roaches continue in towards that main base mineral line. Currently 1 queen dead. BC will teleport away to the natural, I would imagine, to go and get repaired. Can get repaired, but I mean, then the queen count is still looking pretty good, right? SCVs continue to drop. Now going to target the starport to get rid of the Liberator that's building. And it looks as though Namshar is very good to pick up game number 1 of this best of 3. Couple depots going down as well. Queen's still applying a little bit of pressure. Roaches come straight down here, and that bunker going to fall very quickly. SCVs getting picked off too, so a lot of damage being done overall. Some good cleanups here by Namshar. That's going to be seeing that battlecruiser picking up another Roaches, so Queen going to get picked off as well. I mean, the BC really kind of the saving grace at the moment. Namshar starts at a spire. Obviously has a lair, of course, because of the Nidus. Disruptors put you into a good spot. The thing is, there's a third CC building. It would be nice to try and deny that from coming up, but these SCVs, a lot of them kind of survived, right? So, a lot more SCVs out here still than we might think, but I guess, even though he wasn't kind of down on work account, none of them are actually mining, right? So, it kind of is still a bit of a shitty spot. Namshar ready, up in the top left, up a map after this. Roach, Queen, Nidus all in against the BC opening. Blue Zerg leading the series. Namshar up against the Red Terror. To the bottom right for Makers, we have got souL. Okay. Game number 2, Namshar's already opening with a pool first, which obviously creates a couple of aggressive opportunities in terms of how you can follow up, in terms of what you can do. So setting up in towards that spawning pool. Dropping down, a couple of drones on the way in here from Namshar as well. Barracks from souL going to be setting up on the main base, and there is the Overlord of Namshar heading down toward the bottom right hand side. So, again, just waiting for that spawning pool. See how many lings get made. See if he can find some damage or something of a slow on the command center with this. hatch, then the gas coming through. Always with that spawning pool up so early as well. Sometimes you can see maybe the roach follow up as well and get even more aggressive after you delay with the first few zerglings. It is going to be 6 zerglings right from the start, so first 6 zerglings on the way up at the moment. I'm going to be looking to head down to the bottom right hand side. SCV souL comes in, going to be again ready to expand momentarily. No SCV scouts, so we'll see how his Reaper does, because players have very different ways of just setting up with the Reaper. Some people, if they don't SCV scout, will just keep the Reaper at home anyways. Some people will SCV scout to know whether they should send the Reaper across or not. Some people will just not SCV scout and send the Reaper across and just play the kind of the very risky situation. As those lings coming straight through the center for the moment, and Namshar going into drones behind it, getting that gas up ready for the ling speed. Because it looks like the Reaper will move forwards here and will grab a glimpse of those zerglings. Namshar not going around the side. Typically around onto the high ground of the third base here would be the way to do this, but just kind of ran straight into that Reaper, so now he's just getting chased away. That's 2 lings that he peeled off to the side. As that Reaper chases the 2 lings up to the top right, he will actually turn around as Namshar is trying to dive into the natural. It's a good idea, but you can see that souL was aware of it, and he knows just kind of, expects what Namshar was doing. So sets up very good against it, and gets popped back by a Reaper grenade as well. That is a good defense from souL, actually. Namshar's opener not really doing a lot. I mean, pull first versus hatch first isn't that much of a difference, but when you make the 6 zerglings, that is a difference, because you do end up, investing into those rather than the drone early on, and that does become quite costly. So that does cost a bit of money there. As our Reaper moving around to the left-hand side, back over through the top, we see Namshar. He has a drone. There's a drone, right? No, it's a zergling. Sorry, I thought a drone was on the third base, getting ready to build it, but just the ling backing away. We see more lings being made. And I guess he doesn't have any really on the map at the moment, so his ling speed finishes. Nice to get some to shut down the Reaper. And just have a few to kind of block off a potential Hellion run by here and now, though he's actually making a few more. Maybe because this isn't Hellions, instead we're seeing Marines being made. This is actually very bad for souL if it does become a ling kind of run by. Okay, looks like he will end up making some Hellions. Those Hellions are still late though, so there's still a little bit of an opportunity to do something with these zerglings. Now Reaper gets taken down by the first few zerglings. The rest of the lings just gathering together still. Now they're going to go across the map. Well, 2 Marines, about to be 2 Hellions. The Banshee on the way up. First things will just go dive straight in towards this mineral line. And a couple of Marines there just, in trouble right away. SCVs will turn to try and fight with them. There are the 2 Hellions. The extra zerglings showing up now, and again, the issue is the fact it is just 2 Hellions, right? If this was like Hellions from the start, it would be on 4 Hellions, and this would be a lot easier to hold. As it stands, the lings get in good damage. 7, 8 workers killed, plus the fact he's forced units away from the mining on the natural. And he got a Hellion and a couple of Marines, which is also nice, plus the full scout at the main. So many advantages here from Namshar. Very good setup from him as those SCVs pull in, kill off the couple of zerglings. And those lings and Namshar continue to head down to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Now starting up in the main base, so getting this lair going here. Stimpack starts as well from souL, who's going to be seeing the cloak about to complete. The Banshee's obviously going to be the next little wave of harassment here from our Terran players. So, I say the next little wave, he hasn't really had any harassment so far. I guess he had the Reaper, which got shut down. But that was very late to move across because it was playing defensively, so it didn't really act as harassment, did it? Oh no, souL. Banshee slides straight into the Spore Crawler. That's painful. So much damage already taken. I mean, now this Banshee, as soon as detection comes up here, I mean, Lair's about to be done, so Overseer's not far away. As soon as this is done, this is going to be a problem. Hellions go diving into the natural though, so souL looking for some damage. Lings get a pretty decent initial surround. Hellions aren't going to do anything. I mean, 1 drone killed a queen, thanks to the Banshee. These Hellions are going to get pushed away. Second Banshee shows up, another queen between the bases, going to get picked off. Lair is done, but no Overseer is actually really costing him now, because definitely could have killed that other Banshee a little bit sooner. Now the Overseer now starting a Nidus network going to begin. Namshar feeling as though, well, I kind of would have liked this more when he still had the Banshee, still had the queens up, but losing a couple of queens, I'm not quite as sure about it. This Banshee getting pushed away as well. Roach is coming in. I mean, across the map, what do we see? Third CC double engineering bay. We do see the siege tank on the way up as well. Where do you drop the Nidus? Probably just straight into the natural, right? Which means the tank can defend on the high ground. 6 more roaches currently building. Nidus Gonna get loaded up. I mean, even if you put the Queens in first, they're not gonna have transfusions. And so the Sniders, I mean, it's just gonna die. Tank and Marines to damage it. Just the first Sniders will not do anything building right in front. But where else do you to build it? Well, maybe down here, but then he's got to go for a wall off against the siege tank already. That's not pretty. Namshar just droning it up instead, realizing his attempt to knight, his attempt to all in will not work out now. So continues to drone, gets back into the worker lead, sets up his own Evo chambers to catch up in upgrades. It's not too far behind. The Nidus is a bit of an investment that doesn't go anywhere for him, but aside from that, I mean, it's not been terrible for Namshar. Yes, I think losing a couple more queens than were needed, but resources lost is even. Income tab shows that it's been Namshar. It's been back and forth, but Namshar's had the bigger peaks for the most part, so Namshar should be feeling fairly comfortable here. As the Marines are going to come through, and they are going to be able to pick off the Overlord. Marines again picking away at a bunch of Zerglings. Banshee coming through into the center of the map, pushing some Roaches back over to the left, although in the end the Roaches just don't have anywhere to really go, so that's just going to get picked up. Namshar again a bit aggressive without any real sort of setup to go alongside it. So his aggression just ends up looking a little bit silly, really. As the Roaches do get pushed back, the Banshee just a couple kills. Nothing too crazy, but it is still quite nice to see one upgrade starting on each side of the map. 2 medevacs from souL beginning to unload in the main base. Marines ready to potentially sim forwards here. A little bit of damage taken already. Wolf gets taken down. Roaches coming forwards here as well. Gonna try and dive on the Roaches. Doesn't get the kill before he decides to pick up. So souL may be losing a couple more Marines than were needed. Obviously Namshar set up for the Nidus, but like we were talking about in the first game, traditionally Namshar likes to play or prefers to play a Roach-based style in DVT anyways. So this kind of position shouldn't be too terrible for him. It's not like he's just failed an all-in and he's like, well, now I'm stuck on Roaches. This is still kind of like alright in terms of how he wants to play this out and the way, you know, that sort of stuff. Infestation Pit and Baneling Nest dropping down here from Namshar. We do see the factory. Second one as well already. I mean, against Roaches, siege tank counts are going to be absolutely incredibly important. You know, absolutely the most important thing of all, I would say, is we do see a couple of drones getting picked up. Marines lifting up into the medevac. Backing away down the left-hand side, and other Marines on the right-hand side hanging out as well. Infestation Pit is about to complete. As you have +1 melee, +2 characters coming in. More Marines is unloading behind the mineral line. Picking up another couple of drones. Roaches are going to run forwards and forces the medevac to lift up. The Marines taking some damage. That one Marine left behind, but he's not being left behind forever. He's going to go and join his team. Oh, the Queen kills him. Queens, man, always spoiling our fun as you see a drop in the main, while Roaches deal with this pretty well. This drop in the natural that has done the most, 14 kills, is very impressive. It's a lot of drones lost from Namshar. Not easy to replace either. Like 14 workers, that's what, 700 minerals? Plus it's the fact that, you know, you've got to have 14 lava. I mean, that's, you know, 3 hatcheries, so 4 hatcheries, it's 14 lava is 4 injects. That's an entire set of injects that Namshar has to spend now, replacing drones. So Namshar has to replace that there as he gets set up into the hive. A few infestors on the way out, a few more ravagers coming in. Baneling speed on the way up as well, +1 melee and +2 carapace also building up here. As you have these Marines from souL heading up the left side. Medevac loads up some Marines and comes up to the top as well. Queens on the right setting up too, as we're going to be seeing those drones. Getting picked away at, oh my god. What a massacre. They just get trapped in there, nowhere to really run to. Namshar just does not have a good way to deal with these drops. That's the problem with Roaches and Ravagers. The Infestors now can maybe fungal and the Queens can maybe do something, but the reality is it's just not a good composition for dealing with drops, and so souL is abusing it to the max at the moment. Finding so much damage throughout this here as we see this medevac all the way up to the top. Going to end up coming in towards the main base to keep up the pressure. I mean, Namshar is about to hit hive, is probably going to go into ultras with the fact that he's building into +1 melee. Switching into Banelings as well. It's going to be tough for him if he wants to try and build up into Broodlord. It's going to take an eternity. He doesn't really have enough to do it. Investors have a fungal growth. It's a good first fungal on a lot of the Marines. Tanks are getting sieged though, so Namshar can't really fight here for very long. Getting rid of those Marines, the tanks are a little bit naked now. Kind of left on their own as the Queen comes over. Marines able to pick up another couple drones. Queen will fall. Continue to fight. I see more roaches coming in. Marines getting picked off. souL is going to pause the game. So a couple of moments. souL with that pause. Looks as though we're good to resume. Just waiting for Namshar to go as well. And resume this. And 5 drones killed off once more. It's just been a drone slaughter. Do we dare look how many drones are killed in the game? Must be like 40-ish. 35. We've just seen so many throughout this. And you see Namshar struggling up towards the Ultras cavern, but by the time he gets there, there's going to be ghosts. There's going to be a 4-base Terran that's been unharassed. I say that just as roaches actually start to harass. This is nice. I mean, Namshar needs to slow down this economy. Otherwise, again, the ghost play is just going to be absolutely unstoppable. And that's not pretty as well. These tanks seem to be kind of unstoppable right now anyways. These roaches, man, I mean, these SCVs just don't pull away. Roaches are just killing units as they kind of wander forwards. One tank on the high ground is the only thing that's actually in the right place here. A couple drones going down to a drop on the left. Most of those units getting picked off. In fact, all of them do. So these tanks are in just such a dangerous spot. souL's going to siege, but where's he going to go? Namshar's kind of diving forwards, but he just doesn't have that many units now. Tanks are going to siege up again. Target fire so he doesn't just blow up on the infested Terrans right away. And again, Namshar just does not have an effective way to clean up the siege tanks. The tanks are still alive here. Roaches after roaches going down in the crossfire. And, well, I mean, Queen's able to pick up a couple more shots on medevacs. So medevacs continue to take some hits there. And, well, for the end, it's going to be a pushback from Namshar, but it is not looking good for him. Did kill a lot of SCVs. Again, that roach attack across the map was definitely one of the stronger things Namshar's had for himself in this game. But in general, this entire game has just gone a little bit wrong as we see the Marines continue to press forwards. Overlord will drop down. Tanks sieging up on the high ground. Banshee looking to pick up that Queen, but the transfuse is good. A few Banes coming in now as well, but how do they get on towards the Marines with the tank support? How do they get on top of the Marines with the tank support? I have no idea. Ravagers, Banes splitting away to the left side. Marines hanging out in the center. One Roach gets taken down. A couple more Banes picked off as well. Marines pushing their way through Queens on the top side. Ravagers trying to come down the ramp. Here we go. Namshar with the surround. But those Ravagers get massacred by Marines out over there to support anyways. The close powers barely land. And as everything else gets cleaned up, souL will push us to a 3rd game in this series as well. Long matches tonight. Another game 3. Let's just jump into the action. Okay, looks like we're good. Top, bottom, right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Infinity Gaming. This is Namshar. As the top left, our red Terran player from Makers is souL, but to the bottom right, we're going to have 2 barracks drop down. Getting this set up, getting this going. Overlord hanging out overhead. An extractor going up. Pool going to start soon as well. Just the proxy racks here from souL. Looking good. I think Namshar, what Namshar was saying is he lost 6 seconds because the keyboard froze. I'm not sure if he wanted to regame, but then he just sort of said go. And I'm kind of feeling bad for him because a couple of Marines are on the way out at the moment. And that's obviously not pretty if your spawning pool is 6 seconds later than it should be. He's going to see a bunker coming up now, and Namshar's going to be like, well, this sucks. You can see that he's got minerals way above where it should be. His spawning pool's still not done. So he's just going to pull drones. I absolutely think drones are probably the better answer. Our supply depot to block off this wall, though. Well, now he'll just mine on the low ground. Starts a spine instantly. 2 queens and 2 lings on the way up. So just going to go for the long game here, or the long push, I guess. Slowly bringing these bunkers forwards rather than just diving straight, diving straight ahead. Sets up another bunker too. Starts it before the creep blocks it from being built right there. Drones are going to pull in with a couple of lings. There's only 3 Marines so far, and they will get in towards that bunker. Pulls back now. A couple of lings have to be careful. Queens will be up in a moment. There'll be a big helping force in this. Important part of this, really, though, is pushing back and making sure the spine crawler can finish. So the spine will be able to finish in a moment. The bunker has finished, but he will be able to stop this other bunker from building, hopefully. And the spine able to fight against that for the moment. This is only a 2 rack, so Namshar doesn't really want to lose the hatchery to this. That would be very painful for him. As you can see, the spine is going to get this bunker, so there's a cancel. So there's just 1 bunker that's in range of the hatchery at the moment. Namshar Trying to find the right position for this spine crawler, which seems to be just over here. Couple of queens coming in. They're building up the energy. Have transfusions available soon. Some Marines starting to go down. The link count looking good. There's the attempt to bust through this supply team, but queens will commit onto the SCVs as well to shut this down. Good transfuse. This is actually a good defense from Namshar in the end. Another good transfuse as well. Now those Marines obviously not in range with a bunker to fight, so they're going to come and try and fight on the top side, but now the queens have a lot of micro potential, right? Queens still don't have speed. Spinecrawler will push forward. The queen pulls back, does lose it. Trying to bust through the other bunker now. Spinecrawler will be able to get another Marine kill. Still actually poking away quite a lot of these Marines. Marines pulling back a couple at a time. Able now to get that spine in range of the bunker, and again it's just getting chipped away at. No more SCVs to repair. Decent hold from Namshar, but again he is down on drones. Because it's just a 2-racks, the double gas from souL came in very quickly. With the double gas from souL coming in so quick, it actually sets him up into a position now where he's already on a factory. He's already building a starport. So he's already setting up into a very strong spot here. The Spinecrawler got killed in the last few moments of this attack. souL still just building Marines out of these barracks. Namshar definitely hurting a little bit off of this open. You can see that souL's taking an eco lead. Namshar doesn't even come out with like a Spinecrawler left alive to help him continue defending. Starport finishes up another racks. Gonna be getting set to go, and souL Marines just gotta kind of dive in if those queens overextend anywhere. Obviously, souL's expansion is late, but Namshar also no third hatchery, where you usually would kind of expect to have one at this stage of the game. Cryptium is heading off in a couple of different directions. Armory drops down from souL in the back of the main base as well. So there is Namshar getting ready to go up into the third hatch here. And again, off of not such a pretty start, Namshar will stabilize a little bit at least. So getting that underway and getting this going. Few Marines will come up. I mean, there's queens to defend those Marines. I don't think this is a major threat when it comes to the fact that, you know, there's a couple units pressing in towards the third base. Some Hellions coming over as well with this. Maybe is a bit more of a concern. The queen count low because obviously there's been harassment in the earlier stages of the game. Couple queens trying to fight right away. Armory is done, so Hellbat Marine push to punish the third base at the moment. Again, only 2 queens here. The other's not pulling over yet. Namshar's building a few more Zerglings. Just going to cancel this third hatchery. Gets the minerals back. That is essential for him, but kept down to 2 bases. It's not pretty. And now Banshee's on the way as well. No Spore Crawlers currently set up because Namshar's trying to cut a couple corners to stay in the game. Bane's continuing to morph in. We're going to be seeing the hatchery. Going to come down on the third base in a moment. There's still a couple of Lings pressing forwards. Queens, Lings coming through. It's going to be an elevator up into the high ground. I mean, the medevac will die. Oh my god, the medevac survives. Brought right to the back. There we go. Now the medevac goes down. Bane's coming in. Decent-ish connections. Actually, pretty good connections overall. So clean up from Namshar. Now he has to get spores up in time to deal with the Banshee. The first Banshee's about to arrive. He's just not ready for a Banshee. In any way, shape, or form is he not ready for a Banshee. Oh man, Namshar might be in some trouble. He might be able to get cancelled on that base over here. Ah, there's 4 Hellions. Okay, maybe not. He's going to try and Baneling bust his way through this. The lack of Spore Crawlers is so deadly right now, as we see. Well, Hellions will be out of position at least. The Bane bust will have some potential to deal damage. Really needs it. Spores start up. These drones need to start pulling away. Namshar needs to just go for this here. Hellions are heading back home. They absolutely need to. Oh my god. There's a little gap there. He didn't even need... Oh my god, he didn't actually need the Banelings. There was actually not a full wall-off. So the wall-off wasn't complete, and Namshar uses Banelings that maybe could have gone off on SCVs instead. That could have been his moment, perhaps. That could have been his opportunity. 11 drones down, 12 across the map. The Banshee's going huge because the Spore is just not in the right position. Now the Banshee runs out of energy, but 14 kills on the Banshee. This damage you just don't really recover from. GG from Namshar, and souL takes game 3 of the series. And it is going to be a 2-1 from souL. What he can do. Let's kick off. To the bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Team Liquid. We have got TLO. Up against the red Protoss player in the top left-hand side from Blazer, Geralt. Okay, so this might be more important for Namshar then. If TLO gets 2-0'd by Geralt, then Namshar's still in with a fighting chance to advance through the group. In fact, it might not even need to be a 0-2-0-2 from TLO for Namshar to advance still. There may be another way for it to happen. Anyway, you know, he might still have a good enough map score anyways, because I mean, if TLO goes 1-2-1-2 and loses his series, he'd be on 4. He'd be on 4-5, so he'd still be on -1 compared to the 4-4 of Namshar. That's because Namshar would have 2-0'd Geralt and TLO wouldn't have. These tiebreakers, man, these round robins, they get complex, but we can do 4 players. We've been doing 6 players for IEM and 5 players in our usual tournaments. Overlord heading in towards the upper left side. A probe around the left as well. Coming across, looking to see what's going to happen. As we see the hatch, the pool, the gas, everything that's very regular here for TLO so far. In the earlier PvZ we saw Geralt playing. He had that first game, which was an attempt of an all-in. It was a charge lot, what a mortal charge lot all-in. And then in the second game, he went for a double Stargate Phoenix play, which just didn't quite get enough done at the end of the day, and he lost out to the lurker style of Namshar. What's up, Bratak coming in with the 3-month resub. Thank you so much for resubscribing for all 3 months. Appreciate it. Glad to see you coming back. Thank you so much. Muchos love. As the Nexus drops down here from Geralt, Overlord from TLO. Hanging around overhead, and we do see this Adept coming down the left-hand side of the map. Twilight Council about to finish up from Geralt as well. So going to get that finished in a few moments here. Stalker just being Chrono Boosted too. And that's actually going to rally out. And going to be able to push that Overlord back to the high ground at least for a few moments. Probably means we're not going to see a Stargate here. Well, if we are, we're not going to be seeing any form of a Phoenix out of it. And of course we're not, because we saw already see a Twilight Council. Wardy. You literally already saw the tech. Can't even call it right. Well, this might be, again, just the charge and this attempt of an all-in for game number 1. Dark Shrine dropping down. So it's going to be the Archon drop this time around from Geralt. So a bit more of a different way to set up a macro opening. Meanwhile, TLO is flooding Zerglings, so he's made a lot of lings. It is going to be drones behind it. It's 27 drones at the moment, so it's not like a 21 ling flood, which is super all-in. This Adept is something which he's going to send some Zerglings on towards. He doesn't want to waste too much time. He doesn't get us around, so the Adept continues to run. And the more he runs, the further out of position those lings are. As we do see the lings starting to come in. A couple of them go and decide to attack the Stalker here. The Gateway on the bottom side taking some damage as well. That Stalker will go down. No way to save this. I mean, this Gateway has a lot of surface area. I mean, the one on the top, because he can go all the way around. But he's opted already to kind of target down the Gateway on this bottom side. Well, we're seeing 2 more Adepts, interestingly. I say that's interesting because I feel as though in this situation you usually walk in maybe like a Sentry to help defend. Those things will not gain access. And TLO will be turned away, continue drawing up, but no real damage gained from this. No real damage gained from this at all, so not the greatest. I mean, at least he got a Gateway though, which is something, right? Got a Stalker. Still not too pretty. Dark Shrine is now done. The Warp Prism coming across the map. Getting ready for this Archon drop in the next few moments. And as TLO trying to desperately get back into the kind of game in terms of the drone count. Now, again, there's no Rotorin just yet here from TLO. So he's really, if anything, going to have to defend these Archons with Zerglings. And that alone is kind of scary. You know, using Lings to defend Archons is never really going to be efficient. So this is going to be kind of tough for him as well, as 4 DTs warp in. Of course, that makes the 2 Archons here. We'll see, actually, just the 4 DTs are going to move forwards on their own initially. But there's a Spore Crawler. There's drones that can surround that Spore Crawler to defend as well. Adepts are going to shade towards the natural. But the response from TLO does go towards the third base, knowing he needs to defend this Spore Crawler from the DTs, which come in and fight. Queen is actually getting some good shots off with the Spore onto that Prism, but Prism still gets in to save the DTs as the Adepts cleaned up on the natural. 6 drones lost though on top of the obviously ineffective opening. Still not pretty. The Spore actually comes forward to chase the DTs, but I mean that's very risky because then you're leaving your third base without a Spore Crawler at all if it gets picked off. And he's still going to go for this here, so TLO with the confidence. I mean, if you just bring this, literally, the War Prism over into the third base right now and drop the DTs, you kill more drones. So the Spore is so out of position. Going to start morphing in the Archons though. There is a second Prism as well. DT's warping in off of this. TLO will go across the map and try and deny a third base, but there's no third base up, so in the end he's just going to have to end up coming back home as we do see the natural hatch. Still mining away, DTs. Starting to come forwards here. Queen's taking a couple swipes. One Queen already down. Spore Crawler and Queen fire on that Prism, but again, that Queen just drops so quickly, and now for the drones taking damage on the left side, it's just continuing to feel like TLO is constantly under attack in this. Archon's able to lift up back into the Prism as TLO just again another attack across the map. And he has a Bane Nest. I mean, is that his goal here? Bane Bust his way through perhaps? I mean, there's still no third Nexus, which is something at least. 2 more gates, Immortals, and Geralt getting very aggressive with his follow-up here. I kind of feel like it's like with the damage he's doing, the later third base is obviously kind of okay for him. These things are going to end up turning around. The War Prisms both in the same location now. A few Zealots have come forwards too. Things trying to get us around, but again, obviously the Archon micro is just pretty good. Loses one of them. As I say that. Oh, loses a Prism as well. So I mean, that's good from TLO. That's the sort of thing that'll bring him back into this. These Zealots get recalled as well as the drones can get back to mining, but he misclicked them just not quite onto the minerals. There we go. Now they get fixed. The rest of the Zerglings up the left-hand side, and we are going to be seeing these DTs and Geralt coming out the front. The Zealot warping in as the Lings going to end up running over to the right-hand side. A couple of Archons dancing around, jumping around here. Going to see this Overlord of TLO going to get picked off, so Overlord will die. And pulling up to the top side as well, this Overlord also going to get picked off. Zergling's still hanging around in the center. Archon's back down. War Prism about to finish from Geralt as well. +2 melee. Pneumatized Carapace coming up from TLO. Still feels like TLO is fighting that uphill battle, fighting from a real deficit in those early stages. 4 more Archons just finished morphing in. I mean, this push from Geralt is going to be pretty scary to deal with, but you got to remember that Geralt does not have much of a follow-up to it still. Only just now is that third Nexus starting, so this is super late in the game. I mean, Ling does actually sneak on by and will go and see third Nexus finally on its way up. Just going to pick off these pylons though, because there's nothing to actually defend them, so this is a little bit annoying. We'll bring Geralt towards the supply block. Still no Bane Speed though, it's just something else that TLO's not been able to get up in time. You know, at the sort of time in which you would usually like to get it set up. Couple of Spores trying to press forwards, but they're already just under fire. And he's going to go down the ramp, get the surround. The Banes will get, I mean, okay-ish first connections, but then the Archons soak the rest of them. And that's the problem. The Archons obviously are not the best thing to use your Banelings on. You need them on the Zealots. And the first couple did go off on the Zealots, but unfortunately, it looks like now there's just a little bit too much as those Archons press up the ramp. Going to pick off that Spine Crawler. Still pressing through here. A couple of Banes getting picked away at drones. Transferring over towards the natural. They get picked off as well. That line, chunky splash damage from the Archons. Third hatch goes down. And from TLO's early decision to link foot not working out, this really has been a game that Geralt has been in control of. And that has been very apparent for a little while now. As Queen's going down as well, so they're going to keep on getting chased. Another warp in of Zealots. Getting connects on another Zealot or so there, and pushing through. Geralt really does just have too much. GG from TLO. Number 2, to the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player. Down a map, we've got Team Liquid's TLO. Up against the blue Protoss player to the top right-hand side from Blazer, Geralt. Alright, so to get this underway, probes being chrono boosted out of the Nexus, Simulator dropping down to the side, and we do see a gateway is going to be dropping in towards the front of the natural. So getting that set up to begin with. Here's the hatchery comes down from TLO in the natural expansion as well. Overlord heading across over to the far right. As we do just see this getting set to go. A couple of drones coming in. Extractor going to be placed down also. And this probe from Geralt going to be finished up in the next couple of moments. Early game, PvZ really just waits around a little bit to see what the Protoss is going to kind of go for. Sometimes we see, a little bit of early game action in the PvZ from the Zerg. Saw a little bit of that last game from TLO, but as the Cybercore comes up, really anything is a possibility. This is a nice, easy free base to hold if you would like to. You can expand very comfortably down here instead if you want to take these expansions in a linear pattern. We see quite a few Zerg players taking third base, fourth base down on, just a line. For TLO, you take third base here, fourth base top left. Just kind of expanding, keeping away from your opponent. All your bases in a nice line across the left side of the map. It's just very far away, very far set back, and that harassment, attacks from the opponent, from your Protoss opponent, have to come quite a little bit deeper to really then connect on anything or so. Drone comes back over to the natural, and we are going to see the Nexus finishing up in a few moments. Stargate coming in on the main base as well, so it's just over halfway done here. As that drone being chased down by the Adept, couple of probes pulled in, and the drone will fall. Another Adept on the way up as Geralt is going to say, it's 200 AQ. It's very weird to see the drone come across the map in the first place anyway. Apparently TLO doesn't know what that is, so it didn't actually get the scout on the fact that it is a Stargate. Oof. It's actually unlucky. Sending an Overlord in, he's about to find out that it is a Stargate in a moment or so. As we're going to see a couple of Adepts going to go diving in towards the main. Already picked up a couple of kills on the low ground. They're fairly low HP, but still 4 kills total and lost mining time as well. Now the Overlord does see the Oracle on the way out, so now he is aware that it is not in fact a Twilight Council. So early game not looking good for TLO, man. Down, 26 drones to 34 probes. It's not looking pretty at all for him, actually, as we see those Zerglings continuing over. Stalker going to start dealing some damage to Fuelings at the front. Oracle still on the way out, being chrono boosted here as well. So second one coming over. We'll see with the first Oracle already, been here. Maybe some chance to get some drones. TLO still again down on workers pretty heavily, a little bit more than you usually see, I think, in these early stages. See, that's going to be a pylon cancel. This other Adept going to finish warping in now too. And Twilight still just coming in here. Robo facility coming on down. All of this getting set to roll. 5 more drones coming up, and does get a couple of, cancels the Spore Crawler here, and does find some drones on the third base that just doesn't have any sort of protection. Oracle's coming back in, going to get another drone. His Queen will go down too. Ooh, well, this Oracle runs out of energy. Will still get the Queen kill. Everything just feels like it's going wrong for TLO, not just in this, game, but the series in general. Hasn't been pretty. Cancels a drone here as well. It's just a lava loss, delays it a little bit. TLO trying to get up into the lair in the Rotron, but it's taking them a little while to get there. That Templar Archives coming in behind the natural expansion. And we are going to be seeing Geralt with a couple of Adepts. They come out towards the third base now. Rotron going to be finishing up in a few moments. Third Nexus dropping down. We are going to be seeing the pylon and Geralt dropping in on the third base as well. So just getting set up nice and simply. Going into the Archon drop followed with that Templar Archives. And definitely feels like Geralt just controlling the early game. And TLO has jumped up in workers. Obviously, as the Protoss hits 2 base saturation, they slow down on probes just a little bit while they get the third base set up. No reason to build extra probes yet, because they can't actually make use of them. So they generally slow it down and then start going a little bit as well. Oracle's diving in towards the natural. Queen taking some more damage and will go down. Spore Core dealing some good damage as well, and if the Queen also able to push this Oracle back away, Geralt will be out into the center. 2 Archons into the main base, those roaches. We got some good damage done so far. That one roach does get picked off. These roaches put themselves in very good spots, kind of surrounding around those Archons, and with a good split as well. Really minimizes the damage being dealt by the Archons. And this could have very easily been 3 or 4 roach kills already. Instead, it's like 1 or 2, and a couple of drones picked off. So pretty impressive, really. Extra Zealots, couple High Templar warping in. As Geralt continues to set up towards the 3rd base now. 2 Oracles still back at home, ready to come back once again. They've been so frustrating. At this point, probably don't want to harass too much more, but probably set up stasis wards to help defensively in case TLO gets aggressive. You know, see these massive roaches pushing through the top side, for example. This means the Archons probably want to come home as well. These Oracles just see the roaches. I mean, they can pull back and set up later stasis wards. You don't have to be there right away when the roaches first arrive. Obviously, you can target them down during a fight. It's actually maybe a little bit troubling for Geralt, who does actually just pop pulsar beams on the Oracles. He does have his first Immortal coming over. The extra Zealots make a big difference. He recalls the Warp Prism, and that's 2 Archons. And the splash on those 2 Archons really is a big difference maker when it comes to pushing those roaches back as well. And that's why we always see when these attacks come in, the Protoss players will pretty much always recall the Warp Prism, because those extra 2 units are very expensive, they're very tech heavy, and they go a huge way when it comes to assisting against these sort of attacks. So for Immortal, takes a little bit of damage. The Zealots turning around here, doing some shots. We see the Archons lifting up and pushing down against those roaches. Roaches still pressing through here. More Zealots warping in on the wall-off at the moment. Immortal getting lifted up. So Immortal's getting lifted around. We're going to be seeing roaches still kind of diving around here a little bit. And Immortal's doing a pretty good job of surviving for the moment. I mean, micro nicely in the Warp Prism. TLO definitely getting a bit of momentum with this, though. I mean, Roaches and Ravagers picking up a few of the probes on the 3rd base. It's getting real close. Extra Zealots warping in. I mean, the worker count from TLO is still only 56. Now, he's about to hit Tunneling Claws. He has Burrows, so these Roaches are about to hit a whole new level of annoying. It's very important that Geralt has been able to build up this Immortal count, though, because the more Immortals you have, the easier this defense becomes, continuing on. If he'd lost his Immortals and these Roaches kept coming, there's probably no way to really stop this very easily. The Burrow might force a couple of Observers to come out as well, though, and that could slow Immortal production for a little while. Uses the Burrow just to get on top of the Immortals. Not sure if it's still quite enough, as Geralt's micro is very good. The Immortals continue to dance around. The corrosive bounds just not connecting. You can see now all the Roaches are gone. There's just a few Ravagers and a couple of Zerglings left over. A few more Zealots warping in. And again, 12 more Roaches continuing out here on the 3rd base from TLO. A couple of gateways morphing into warp gates. We're going to be seeing the Void Ray on the way out. Chrono boosting here from Geralt. Psystorm on the way up here from Geralt as well. Roaches and Ravagers in the middle of the map. Single Zerglin as well going down at the bottom right hand side. And we just got Geralt just chilling out between the bases at the moment. The drop with the Overlord spreading up some creep. Zerglin gets picked off pretty quickly. And there's the Oracle still making use for themselves. TLO realizing this attack's not working, going into some other ideas back at home. Spire on the way up, Nidus network building as well. So setting up in towards he cancels the Nidus, decides just to commit to the Spire. I mean, there's definitely a switch around here which could definitely do something for TLO, maybe pull him back a little bit, but I am worried because if Storm and +2 finishes, what stops Geralt just pushing across the map right now? And then he's going to be attacking as the mutas are popping out. Then the mutas don't even get a chance to counterattack and do all the things the mutas are meant to be very good at. Units in the middle of the map. Roaches and Ravagers up the right-hand side. They're going to go diving in towards the natural cannon here. Able to deal some good damage. Zealot warping in. Part of the wall-off. Recall comes in on what? A couple of Immortals and a High Templar. Feels a bit haphazardly placed. Tell you what though, if the army coming in from the left side as well, this now sets up a bit of a surround. You can see the Roaches and the Ravagers are trying to get away down the bottom, but the units coming back down here as well. TLO's army is going to end up fully surrounded. The Storm Kind of hits equal part Roach, equal part Zealot, not gonna lie. So still pressing down here. A couple more throws of Vaz. Oracle will fall. And the results are still going in after the Roaches, after the Ravagers. So Roaches and the Ravagers getting picked up. Probes going down as we see the Mutas arriving now on the third base. And this is, again, definitely one of those turning points of the game where it's like, well, the Mutas show up and there is not really anything to defend. There's 2 Phoenix in the main. There's a couple High Templar morphing into Archons. Obviously intending to go straight in towards a full-on base trade here. Because, well, he's just saying, you know, take my third, take my natural. I'll defend the main base and build Phoenix for my double Stargazer. So you must have seen something of the Spire to start preparing against this a little bit. You can see that TLO is already defending in with 4 Spines and a Warlock to try and help him defend this position. Well, the thing is, if the Mutas come back home, I'm not sure how well they'll do, because there's a lot of Storms which can then, of course, morph into Archons. First Muta shows up. I tell you what, there isn't anything to actually just straight up fight their Mutas if there's only 1 or 2 of them, though. Finally, a Storm comes down. He does get forced to morph in an Archon already, but the Archon gets jumped on. Now the Mutas get hit by another Storm. I feel like just spam out the Storms and morph in the extra Archons because they feel so necessary at the moment. All the High Templar got picked off. So actually, Geralt will not have an answer to the Mutas until the Phoenix show up. Phoenix are currently fighting Overlords. Don't fight Overlords. Go fight those Mutas. You need to save your army. TLO is going to type out GG. I think if the Phoenix showing up, he realizes he just can't win this fight anyway. We got this one final series here tonight. The top right-hand side, our Red Zerg player. This is a Maker's Soul. Up against the Blue Zerg in the bottom left from Team Liquid, we got TLO. Hello, TLO. Well, again, must-win series for TLO here. For souL, you can mess up, you can slip up. You will still advance in first place. This actually has very little impact for souL. So, I mean, obviously still nice to win, look good. You know, don't have to rage about Zerg. But, guaranteed through the group no matter what. And as we do set up here, drone pops out, starts to mine away, and we are going to be seeing refinery, gas, racks, all the usual suspects here in the early game, minute or so. As we get this started, so that's getting going. If you're looking for more StarCraft 2 tonight after this series wraps up, I have got my YouTube channel. It's Thursday, which means it's a YouTube-only cast. Go up on the YouTube tonight. It's Maru versus Dark from IEM Katowice. It's a pretty awesome series, if I do say so myself. So if I were you, I'd go check it out. That's Maru vs. Dark on the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/WardiTV. We upload YouTube-only broadcasts 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. So do check that out. It goes a long way if you do. I'm trying to keep the YouTube channel growing. It was on a huge growth streak, and then it's really taken a hit the last couple of weeks as well. So hopefully we can get back on track with the YouTube channel. I really want to push the YouTube, really make it something we can keep focusing on, produce even more content for you guys. So do check it out. You can drop a subscription on the YouTube. That goes a long way as well. YouTube.com/WardiTV, that is, for all of you. I mean, we also put up a whole bunch of VODs in terms of other games that are, or other matches, other tournaments that are being resolved or broadcasted. We put the VODs up a lot of the time, so you guys can check that out as well. As we see a couple queens on the way up here from TLO. Getting this going as we do have this Reaper from souL heading down to the bottom left-hand side of the map to try and see what's going on. So Reaper to the bottom left. And dive into the action here as we see a couple of queens coming in from TLO, the hatchery dropping down on the third base. There's that Reaper coming straight across into the natural, and a couple of lings showing up already, dealing a little bit of damage to that Reaper, and the Reaper should be able to pick up one of them, but no control there from souL. Oh, misclicked. It wasn't no control, that's maybe a bit harsh for me. But does misclick a little bit and doesn't kill that Zergling, which he definitely could have. It was in range for a long time. So definitely could have gotten away with that. As we have that Reaper backing away over to the right. Drones mining up on the main base. TLO's Overlord hanging out in the upper right as well. Going to see a couple of Hellions going to start heading out in towards the center of the map as well also. Hellion play, pretty traditional obviously in the TVZ. It usually keeps you pretty safe. The only downside is in a Nidus-filled metagame, they are kind of weak to Nidus attacks, right? Hellions don't really help you against roaches and queens and stuff, so there's definitely a little bit of a downside as you see that link speed from TLO about to finish up in the main base. Subzelos1985, my dude, with the Twitch Prime sub for 3 months as well. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. If there's any of you out in the chat with the Twitch Prime that hasn't been used already, if you guys got a Twitch Prime sub and you're just itching to use it on a streamer, and for some reason you just haven't thought to use it on me, well, do consider it. Every sub goes a long way to helping us. Put on score 0-0. And of course, souL was kind of diving in towards the main base with a few of these Hellions. TLO trying to go into crisis management mode. Hellions are still gonna do okay based on the fact they looked like they were going to do nothing at all initially. They get 2 drones. I guess it's not that great actually. Well, 4 more Hellions load up in a medevac to continue the pressure. They're gonna go drop towards the main, but the Overlord already sees the medevac coming, so pretty good information from TLO here to begin with. Billy Nasty in the chat says, I'm a shark and yeah, I'm pregnant. I am genuinely concerned. It's coming back, says souL. A couple of moments here, guys. Hopefully we can get this sorted out and back into the action well and proper. Get this truly underway. Aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye. Test, says TLO. Test. 1 2 1 2. Check. 1 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Do 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 do. No. No. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. You ever get that feeling you're just kind of losing your mind a little bit? I get that feeling a lot. souL's going to type a 1 to try and test this here. And another one. Okay, go! Looks like we will resume with this medevac continuing to head toward the main base. So Hellions unloading. 4 of them going to start diving in towards the main mineral line. Already a couple workers down. Make that 6. Hellion does get picked up. The other Hellion's jumping into the medevac too, and now going to boost away up the top side. Another command center dropping down on the front of this wall off, and well, 7 drones killed. Definitely painful for TLO. Again, just because we've been out of the game a little while, quick reminder, this is a must-win series for TLO. If he does not win this series, he's eliminated from the tournament. On the other side, if you're looking at this from souL's point of view, he is getting through the group no matter what. He's guaranteed first place no matter what. So this win or loss for souL, no effect on his performance in this group. He's coming out on top today. And there's going to be guaranteed 1 Terran and 1 Zerg out of this group, just as it was in Group B yesterday. Currently only 1 Protoss in the bracket, that being Skillus, who has been in the bracket. Who has entered the bracket and, Kung Fu Panda, who has advanced through from Group A. Skillus plays tomorrow in Group D. God, I'm getting my mind all messed up here. Banshee heading down the bottom left as Hellion's going after a few drones, picking off another couple. 5 workers killed so far, make that 6. The other Ling's coming in to finally clean up, but it's again just another round of harassment from the souL. And there's a lot of Hellions that he's used up now. I mean, 8 in total. I guess obviously retaining them a little bit earlier was nice. The Banshees haven't done anything, just taken damage, no kills on them. Spire from TLO, can shut down the Banshee player easily. And obviously the Mutas in general are going to be a pretty decent way to play TVZ, we all know that. souL sets up the 3rd base here now to the top side. The supply depots dropping down. And the Banshee's moving to the main. 2 drones picked off there already, so a couple drones already dropping. This Queen in some trouble as well is going to end up going down, so Queen will fall. Another couple of drones getting picked off here. There's the Queen from the bottom side, able to come through and shut down that Banshee. 5 workers killed, as the 1-1 upgrades will continue through the armory on the way up. Medevacs, tank, marines all still on the way in here at the moment. Medevacs to souL, coming down to the bottom side of the stem in towards this bottom side fourth base. They're going to come straight on through. Hatchery into some pretty heavy firelings from the top side. Not going to do much as the Broodlings coming in. They're going to get picked off as well as the hatchery falls. Got Lings, Mutas, and Veins down up here as well. A couple of Balins getting shot down. Again, you're going to be seeing the +1 melee and the +1 carapace coming through. +1 flyer attacks as well. All this coming into play at the moment as we see TLO gathering up. Here we go. Bane's trying to jump on this little army. He'll get a couple connections, but maybe not enough. There's still Marines here. They are still dealing damage. Finally, the Lings and Mutas able to clean up, but souL with the 1-1. It's trading very well. Finally, I mean, only 2 Marines left. Not really going to be able to do a lot with this. Medevac will fall. And the Marines and the tanks from souL still going to end up pressing forwards here. As you have creep spread pressing through, a couple of queens. All this actually continue to press out further onto the map. One thing TLO does have is a lot of creep spread. Not in front of the 4th base, unfortunately, over on this right side. Maybe it would have been better to take this base here just because of the creep that he has up here. souL cleans up a little bit of it already, taking a little bit of a supply lead. Definitely looking good for our Terran at the moment. Another scan down to the bottom side. Those couple of tanks loading up. souL is going to bring them to the bottom 2, sieging them. Few Marines from souL stemming ahead and going to jump straight on towards this hatchery. So hatchery taking some damage as well. Mutas are going to find a fall on the way across the map. That's a good interception, shutting down reinforcements. Always a strength of the Mutalists, but losing the 4th base. Again, TLO just lost a lot of drones early in this game, and souL's so far been able to really capitalize on that, setting himself up into an advantage from that point onwards. Those Banes just cannot roll in. Oh, they again get caught on the Queen as well, which kind of lets the Marines catch them. Only one went down, actually. Able to pick off one Queen too. TLO might just launch a counterattack now, but there's reinforcements from souL too, although now not as many because he loads up the drop. Mutas around the right side. This army's still mobile, still plenty of Marines as well, so it's not like the Mutas can just overwhelm it or anything, right? It's not like he's cleaned up anything in this army actually so far. That's what really is scary about this, the fact that souL is still just running around silly. Another Widowmine here, a couple of Lings do see it, set it off, will come in, clean that up. Medevac drop to the top towards the main is kind of uncontested though. Nothing to stop this at all as it heads towards the main base. Widowmines and Marines begin to unload. Overlord's going down already. Taking a few shots. Going to see the Marines here continue to fight. Spore Crawler going to go down. A little bit more creep being cleaned out. As we do see the Banelings crashing through, but not really finding enough. Sorry, had to mute it and cough for a moment. And you see 4 drones killed off in the main base. TLO is bleeding out though. Every time I look at the supplies, it's another 20, 30 army supply difference in favor of souL. Just grows that little bit more, extends a little bit further. And there's the 2-2 melee upgrades on the way in from TLO as well. Marines, Widowmines, tanks, and a 4 all coming into the center of the map. And be able to pick up a couple 15ers already here. Maybe a scan, get rid of a little bit more as well. Nicely placed. Pressing straight forwards again. Widowmines continuing to burrow up. Getting themselves in pretty good spots for the moment. Continue to burrow up that creep. This hatchery coming through as well. Marines on the right side here able to pick off that hatch. I mean, that's just a 4th that'll never come up. TLO does set up the 4th in that kind of more pocketed location. It's definitely not a position souL's been pushing in towards just yet. A couple of tanks still support this here as the Widowmines actually get good first connections. I mean, Marines off the creep on the bottom side just split away from those Banelings. Now there's no Banes left at all, so the Mutas won't be able to capitalize on this, and TLO knows it's over. He taps out at game 1 here. souL goes day onwards for about a week. I'm traveling to go and cast WESG in Ukraine. You can catch me on the WESG stream all week long then. Instead, of course, I'm going to be casting. Well, I'm not going to tell you who I'm casting with. I'll leave those guys to make their own announcements. But there hasn't been an official announcement. But I'm obviously I need to tell you guys where I'm going. So I'm going to WSG next week. I'll be casting there. You can catch me with some other awesome people all day long. Loads of casts, loads of StarCraft. Players like Sarah, Maru, Innovation, Dark, Showtime, Neeb, Hearthstone, Mana. All of them. All the best in the world. Scarlet, Special. It's going to be crazy. Top left, our red Terran player here is going to be souL, who is going to open with that proxy 2 racks up on the top side. And it is, again, just that 2 racks, like we saw against Namshar. 2 racks allows for that faster gas, the faster factory follow-up, the faster tech switch. That's to the bottom right-hand side. The blue Zerg player from Team Liquid, TLO. Roddy announced he's going to. Yep. Me and Roddy going to be casting together. There's a couple other people as well. I'm not sure if they are also going to be... I don't know if they... I just don't want to say it if they haven't told people in their own time, right? Like, I don't want to tell you guys... I don't want to make someone's announcement for them. Like, I mean, not that it's necessarily going to be an announcement. It's just going to be probably them mentioning it on their stream. But, yeah. Put it this way, though. If you watched WSG Grand Finals last year, you're going to be looking forward to more of the same. Yeah, boy. Couple of SCVs, Marines on the way. TLO with this Overlord has not seen the racks. He's pulling his Overlords back. I mean, he can't have seen anything here, right? No, he's going to see the SCVs coming in now. So this is going to be TLO's first chance to respond to this. Swan and Pool finishes and instantly a Rotron. The Rotron kind of means you're going to give up the low ground, though. And giving up the low ground against the 2 racks is very, very unfortunate because then you're on 1 base. Okay, he's going to Nidus it. Rotron in the lair instantly. So he's going to go for the Nidus across the map. This might work because it might be able to shut down the factory play and the starport play before it gets out of hand. So a few Marines jumping into the bunker, going to be picking their way through the hatchery. So hatchery taking some damage here. The Lings hanging around in the main base. Ling speed on the way up. The Spine Crawler setting up here as well. So they're just about halfway done at the moment. And again, Marines. I mean, again, TLO just gives up this low ground, right? So he's just going to go 1 base. And again, typically against 2 racks, that's not a great idea. Against 3 racks, 4 racks, sure. You know, play 1 base, because the Terran transition is so slow, but this game, the factory's already about to finish. I mean, this is going to be a Nidus, right? What else can this be with the lair? Nidus network drops down. I mean, a Starport and a Banshee is still really good here, because there's only 1 hatch to build a queen off of. And obviously no early queen, because he built the lair so quick, so... I mean, you know, a Banshee absolutely shuts this down. Absolutely shuts this down. As we are going to be seeing. Nidus just over halfway done here. The couple of racks continuing up toward the upper left-hand side. Command center drops to the main. I mean, souL's kind of happy you killed the expansion. He immediately just kind of backed away. Just leaves 1 bunker here. Empty even. So he just initially backs on him. He has to get worried in a moment though, right? He does start a bunker. He's starting to realize, well, why don't you have an expand? Here you go. Oh, this Nidus is going to get walled in. The barracks coming over is going to wall the Nidus in. I actually don't know what you do about that. I mean, I guess then you just have to fight your way through this tech lab. Sets up another Nidus on the other side. It turns out you can actually fit a surprising amount of units here. But if you wanted to build something with the drones, probably Spore Crawlers. That'll be delayed a little bit then. As he is going to... Oh, grab some Marines coming back up the ramp. Well, that's got some potential to it, doesn't it? Tank will siege quite far away to the left. There is this bunker here as well, remember. Starport obviously won't be able to do much. Now, he did get his second tank going before the tech lab died. That's very important as well. Now, TLO's going to make spine claws with this. Oh, the tank's exposed. The tank's just kind of there, really out of position with no SCVs nearby. As the Roaches see it, they dive on it. And they take absolute advantage of that. Tank gets sieged up. You're going to see Roaches continue to get picked off at the moment. Roach after Roach going down. I mean, these couple of spines gonna get shut down now. I mean, this tank's in a much better spot, right? That's the thing. The Nidus is getting shut down. The Roaches are kind of hiding in the top right, so it's much harder to get to this siege tank. Like this from souL. Sends a command center to the low ground. The low ground's not really under any pressure here, so, you know, to send the SCVs down to the low ground can actually be quite successful, I think. This tank's also going to move quite far forwards. Just has to be careful. I mean, corrosive vials available as well. I'm surprised this factory hasn't moved to the side to make another tech lab, but then again, I guess he's not mining gas at the moment anyways. souL's still up by 2 workers up a command center, which makes this a real commitment from TLO. Like, he has to do something with this sooner rather than later. 3 corrosive bars available. That's the magic number to kill a siege tank. If I was souL, I kind of feel like you might even want to just unsiege the tank right now before it gets biled. TLO just wants to try and pick his way through this supply depot at the moment. Tank shot on a roach. There's quite a few Marines now. There's the corrosive blast. The siege tank will go down again without a tech lab. Can't build any more of them. We'll get one of the Ravagers before they escape into the Nidus network. Oh, the SCVs get in front. They can't get back in the Nidus. Drones are going to be brought through with this, though. Oh my god, the SCV is trying to surround that Ravager still. 2 Marines into the bunker. There is not a lot left. That's the majority of TLO's economy, by the way. He's literally just pulled his drones across the map in the Nidus to help fight. And it saved a Ravager. It genuinely saved a Ravager. No idea why souL's muling the high ground. Mule the low ground every day. Again, that low ground is super safe right now. Maybe not in a moment with the roach coming over. That might be a bit more of a frustration to deal with. Well, souL has a tech lab back on his factory. He got rid of the Nidus over in this position, so he was able to rebuild here because the creep dissipated. One roach on the low ground didn't attack the low ground, actually just ran straight by to the high ground. Rack's gonna lift up, move back a little bit. This bunker gonna be in range for Biles and Queen and just roach shots in general. But soon with a tank to back it up, you can't, then you're gonna have to bile the siege tank again. And you put the tank just behind the bunker, I kind of feel you're gonna be pretty okay here. souL is still pumping out Marines whenever he can. A couple SCVs to repair up, a couple units on the high ground. Having to pull away again. I don't understand why he keeps dropping mules on the high ground. That does perplex me a little bit. Remember that there's still no expansion from TLO back at home. He is completely all in on the one base in a must-win situation. You lose the series here as TLO, aka you lose one more game, you are out of the tournament. And Namshar will advance through in second place instead. Nidus set up in the top right corner of the base. Ravagers, Queens, and a Roach. Moving around a little bit as well. TLO just hanging out here. A couple more Roaches popping out as well. Gonna see the siege tank. There's, there's 2 siege tanks now. Looks like TLO is gonna try and focus an attack on the natural now that the main base has no economy on it. So Nidusing down to the low ground, but well, 2 tanks. 2 siege tanks just has to be kind of that sort of point where it's just going to be really difficult to really do anything about this. Orbital command takes a lot of damage, but will be repairable, of course. A couple SCVs jumping on it pretty quickly. Units back up to the high ground. Will break through this bunker. And TLO using the mobility of his army very effectively here. There's one tank that went to the low ground, comes back to the high ground. Another tank shows up. Marines picking away at a lot of the Ravagers right now. There's corrosive files on that siege tank that was in the front. The other tank microing around in the medevac is going to survive. 4 Queens and a Ravager remain. This tank back to the high ground here. Looks like it will siege because there's only 1 Ravager. And again, Ravager's expensive. TLO finally expanding to a natural expansion. Finally moving in towards the second base here. We're 9 minutes into Port Alexander. Creeping around the edge of the main base. souL will scan, sees the hatchery. He has just finished. Good time to scan. Gets full information about that. Ravager's going to find some more SCVs. He's coming in onto that side where the siege tank isn't. The bars dropping down. Starport taking a few hits. Tank sieging up again. Roach takes some damage. Marines pressing forwards. Queens and Ravagers still being pushed away. This army's splitting up now. Let's start coming through. Here we go. Queens pushing straight into this tank fire. Good so far to clean out a couple of Queens. And then Queens going down here. Feels like there's only going to be those Ravagers left open. Those Ravagers, well, tank micro will actually be able to get rid of those Ravagers. The fact that Queens go down gives the medevac a lot more freedom. Look at this. He's pressing forwards. He's going to try and just corner the Ravagers in. Now, the Ravagers die for a siege tank, but yeah, you get 1 tank, but you know what? It costs you all your Ravagers. 2 more Ravagers morphing in. Probably not going to be enough. TLO loses the Nidus in the main base. He can rebuild it if he wants to, but it just feels like souL is getting closer and closer to making one final cleanup here. SCVs start pulling in towards those Ravagers, force them back. Nidus back in the main. Pushing down on the low ground. Any medevac play? Probably could have chased the Ravagers if he wanted to. That's the thing though, now the Niduses are being cleaned up, TLO's going to go back into drones. Looks like souL's going to lift up his main base orbital and take it back in towards the actual main. So, we can get that back into the main as It's 3 Ravagers here, but again, what can they really do? Not enough is the answer. There's a couple of SCVs here to get rid of, or to repair up this tech lab and the barracks. Save Stimpack! Save Stimpack! Stimpack's dying! No! SCVs! SCVs, go, 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 go. You got 1 SCV on the tech lab and you'll get 1 SCV to the racks. It's enough! As that Nidus actually still needs to die before the group will recede. souL will go back up to 2 bases, and after 11.5 minutes on Port Alexander, a ridiculous opening to this game, souL and TLO will come out and, well, 30 SCVs to 32 drones. It's pretty funky. souL rebuilding the starport he lost during this fight. Drops the main base down. Mules can drop down once again now. He can get back on track. Starts his wall off at the front. TLO's not done though. Drops down a Nidus. I love this drop from souL though. I mean, this drop should do so much, right? Like, it's going to force, you know, TLO to keep units at home. It's just going to be painful, right? Because the medevac's just going to lift up, back away, and as soon as, you know, TLO tries to commit units across the map, souL's just going to have a great time. He picks off a Ravager with this initially as well. Jumps to the main base. The Queen actually maybe causing a couple complications. By the time TLO gets another attack going, I think Stimpack's basically going to be finished. It's 20 seconds away. If he's got Stimpack, I guess he doesn't have that many Marines, actually. Thought he had a couple more, not going to lie. There's 1 Nidus over here. If TLO wants to go across the map. He is building an infestation pit as well. What on earth do you do with an infestation pit? Like something crazy like swarm hosts? I genuinely don't know what you do with an infestation pit. An infester for fungal growth? Maybe. Tank on the high ground, unsieges, backs away before the next 2 piles connect. And that costs TLO a Ravager, and he doesn't get a kill. Scan from souL, seeing what's up, and Nidus into the main base. That's something souL does not currently see. Although he is moving tanks back up here. I think he's aware of the possibility of it because he was out of position. Well, those tanks need to make sure they get the Nidus kill. Otherwise, they might have been in some trouble if you just start pouring out of it. But they do manage to shut that down, so the Nidus does fall. Corrosive bars in the supply depot taking a few more shots. souL getting supply blocked. Overseer flying back to the right side. Marines with the stim going to take advantage of it, and they jump straight towards the Ravagers. Keeps pressing through, kills the Nidus. Surprised the Ravagers didn't jump into the Nidus network. Honestly, Marines will stim again, and they can just outrun Ravagers, so they're going to chase them down for the kills. Ravager after Ravager going down here. All the Ravagers being picked off. TLO looking really, really good right now. Looking really good right now. Sorry, souL looking really good right now. TLO not looking really good right now. He's got a couple Swarm Hosts. I think there's too many Marines for Swarm Hosts to really be an answer here. Nidus goes down, kills the Locusts. The Locusts actually don't die. The Roaches actually fight with them, and the Marines. What is going on? What actually is this? Third CC is actually ready to go as well. Okay, here comes some more Marines. Surely this is going to be too much. The Roaches will go down before they can escape, and the Nidus. He targets the Nidus so they can't escape. Roaches drop, the 2 Swarm Hosts survive. I mean, maybe if souL hadn't got so much production up, Swarm Hosts might have been more of an issue, but with the Marine production that he can get going, I just don't think there's a way. I just don't think there's a will or a way. Like, surely not. Another Nidus coming down from TLO. This is going to be his 10th Nidus one of the game. So that's going to start unloading some of these Roaches and Ravagers as they drop down. Feels like it should be more than 10 Niduses so far. See, the tank fire is just way too much though. Locusts drop down, the Roaches and Ravagers. Oh my god! The tank stacked, 3 tanks go down. It's still not enough, but it was another